Let's talk about Cronulla. The Sharks are denying there's disharmony there.
Well, when long-serving players like Dean Treaster and Nick Graham are dumped, and then you hear stories of David Peachey's not all that happy, that does suggest that there are problems. Now, the Sharks haven't won a game this season, the only club not to. Confidence is down. The players, needless to say, are under enormous pressure. But the Sharks, as we say, deny there is disharmony.
We're playing bad footy. We've got to cop that on the chin. The part about disharmony and, players wanting to leave, we know amongst ourselves is untrue. So once you start winning games, then they'll be saying they want to sign for life. So, it turns around pretty quick.
And Tony, you've got to say that on paper the Sharks look no chance against the Knights there on Sunday.
Matthew, this game last year, the Sharks won 64-14. It was the Knights' worst ever loss. But this time the Knights are in form and keen for revenge.
That was an embarrassing moment for us last year, just for the players, and from a club point of view, it was terrible. So, we're looking forward to going down there and, probably squaring the ledge, but they're under a bit of pressure at the moment.
I think we can win a game soon. I don't think we'll be playing pretty footy. Our best is probably a few weeks away, but what we want to do is start getting better and start challenging these good sides, which is starting this week.
And what about Adam MacDougall? He's been more active off the field than on it.
He's had no luck with injuries at all, has he? He had a knee operation late last season, hasn't played football at all so far this year, and as a result he's used his rehab time to study at Newcastle University, where you can see him there graduating. It may have taken him 10 years to do so, but he graduated today completing an economics degree, preparing for life after football. He hopes to be back playing in a month.
Oh, it's probably been the hardest time of my life. Just emotionally, I'm just physically unable to do anything, but emotionally I'm just drained, and it's taken a great stress on not only me but my family and friends, and it'll be just good once again to get back on the field in the next month or so.
And speaking of the Origin, of course, as Gus said, all the boys joined together on Monday for their 30-man camp, and Andrew Johns caught up with quite a few of the new faces.
The State of Origin's still 8 weeks away, but the Blues have done something different this year. We've got an early training session, done some fitness tests, some fat tests, and a little bit of team bonding just to get to know each other. There's a few new faces here, so let's go have a chat to them. What would it mean to you to make the Origin side?
Mate, obviously it would mean a lot to me. Growing up, you watch Origin games, and that's what you look forward to every year. So playing one of them would be good.
What about the shirt? You look nice in the shirt. We'll be seeing this in the nightclubs since Newcastle the next couple of weeks.
No, mate, not at all.
You sure?
Yeah, positive.
That's right. You can take that nice one off you've been wearing for 6 months. You must be very nervous about seeing other players and showering with other blokes for the first time.
Oh, I don't mind the shower scene. It's always something to look forward to.
If you get in the side or when you get in the side, I think you're a certainty. Are you going to lead the bonding nights?
Yeah, I hope so, mate, alongside you. I think we can sneak out for a couple of nights, mate, have a bit of fun.
Has your mum give you any advice about today? Who to talk to, who not to talk to, who to hang around with, who to stay away from?
Nah, not today, mate. Just kept quiet this week.
I'll give you some advice. Don't sit next to Willie, because look at the bad habits. Look, not using a knife and fork. And what about you, Willie? You've played for Australia but never stayed at Origin. Big goal this year.
It is, actually. It's one of them.
That's good, Willie. Sound enthusiastic. Good luck. It's good to see you back here. I remember the first Origin series where we actually roomed together. You remember that?
I can't remember that, mate, but I can remember before the game, but not too much after the game, mate.
I thought we were great roomies together.
We were good roomies together, but you're very messy, and in the morning you were on top of me when we woke up, so you weren't too much.
I don't think I was on top of you, Hobart. I just couldn't believe how gentle you were. How's the stern?
It's not too bad, man. It's all right.
I heard, Marl, you could play last weekend, but you didn't want to venture out into Energy Australia Stadium. That's a Willie time anyway.
I was just scared of you, man.
Well, how'd you go on the fat test, more like?
I think did I score one below or one above you?
No, I was under 100. You were about 150.
I put down next to Steve-O sloppy. I was 108, you were 107.
Steve-O's actually got the widest belly button I've ever seen in my life.
It's a Greek thing, mate.
But if you get a start, will you be putting your hand up to kick goals?
Mate, I'll leave that to you. You've been a veteran now, and you've been consolidating the goal kicking. So I'll leave that to you.
Couldn't think of a better way to answer it either. Give him a start, Gus. I think he's in.
Probably up there with the front row forwards. Andrew Johns. He's outside the 40, running out of support. 5 metres into Fitler's area.
Running out of his pants.
Our great try to finish today comes from the Newcastle Knights. This is a beauty back from 1993, scored by the former Kiwi, John Shuster.
Davis, cross for Ainscough, now for Hagan. Marquette, gets it away for Shuster. He's very fast. Here comes Silver across the park. Shuster goes inside in, gushes away from 1 and 2. Oh, goody, Shuster! That's a great try! Good work, Shuster!
Rugby League, and it's a long way to the top for Cronulla after another loss today, albeit a close one to Newcastle. The Sharks are still on the bottom of the ladder. Now, the Knights hadn't tasted victory at Toyota Park in 5 years. They were stunned early when Pat Gibson scored, but Newcastle hit back through Danny Buderus and then Craig Hall, taking a 16-12 half-time lead.
Hall's away, they're chasing, but he's going further in front, and Craig Hall scores.
This match went right down to the wire. The Sharks heartbroken again, falling short, 32 points to 24. Cronulla will also go into round 8 without a win because they have another bye coming this week.
All right, it's time now for REG'S RANT.
Sweet Lord. G'day, I'm Reagan. It's great to be alive. Well, at least above the waist. Tell me, morons, how bloody good's the footy at the moment? I'm forced to start the rant this week with our video question, because the bloke who's asking is a legend, a god. He put the P in pain, the T in tough, and the B in biff. You know what I mean. Knights enforcer Tony Butterfield.
G'day, Reg. Great to see you, mate. Listen, just for you couldn't dig into your archives and find me some of the great moments of Mario's career. Mate, we'll catch up for a beer shortly.
Thanks, Butts. Of course you can, mate. All hail the great man, Mario Fenech. As you all know, I get a real kick out of seeing two players giving it to each other. The biff, that is. I'm not like that Trent bloke, you know. Anyway, there's only one thing better than watching two blokes of the opposing team going at it, and that's two blokes on the same team having a go. What about this incident from the Eagles game? Aaron Cannings wears one right on the snout from teammate Chad Randall. Whatever happened to punching him, you pillow biters? They obviously haven't been to the Nathan Brown School of Inter-Team Relations. What about old Nutbags Nutley's hit on Matty Parsons on Sunday? He absolutely passed a hole through the big bloke.
Shutting down Abraham. Parsons on the end of a Nutley shoulder.
But it wasn't long before old Barjar's Paso got his revenge.
Goes away from Johns. Picked up on the half volley by Parsons. And Parsons slams the ball down. Matt Parsons has scored right on the full-time hooter.
His first try in 77 games. It's about bloody time, Parsons, you big melon. As usual, the Biss been pathetic over the last couple of weeks, but let's take a look at it anyway. Roll the tape, you dickheads.
And now it's on between Tallis and Justin Smith. Smith didn't like the tackle. Hughes and Riddell going hard at him. They'll play on. The fight continues.
I suppose it was better than last time. But fellas, if it doesn't improve soon, I'm coming out there to belt you myself. Anyway, that's the week in league. I'm Reagan. Go and get stuffed.
Sounds like Reg is doing it a bit tough, mate, in the gala there. He's drinking a bit.
Yeah, he was going to come in tonight, but he's got the gout, actually. Must be all that citrus and seafood he's been eating. So.
Boys. Welcome, boys. Oh, Shane, it's back, by the way. What about Shane's no, ladies and gentlemen? Beautiful stuff. It won the award last year, didn't it? The Male of the Year?
If it didn't, it should have. I think it might have done.
Shane, you were saying even people in the crowd starting to grow the same thing.
Yeah, we've got a few lunatics at South now, about a dozen of them up in the stand. A couple of South supporters all growing them, so
beautiful.
Yeah, it's coming on.
Actually, we just had Reagan on. He's got a message for you, apparently.
All right.
Hello, Shane. How you doing, son? Long time no see. Great to see you growing the moustache, mate. It's good for pulling the Sheelers in. Anyway, what's going on, those two brothers of yours, Chris and Benny? Haven't followed lead, nothing on the face, mate. Told you they were no good. Couple of little homos, if you ask me. Anyway, good luck for the rest of the year. Out the bunnies. Good on you, son.
Well, there you go. The gauntlet's down. Benny, Chris.
Mate, I couldn't grow a mask if I tried it. I'm staying well clear of that.
Today, but of course our first one will be the Knights up against the Tigers. For Newcastle, another blow with Ben Kennedy succumbing himself to a sternum injury, and also once again this week they'll be without their second rower Steve Simpson, who's suffering a groin injury. His loss for the Knights means we get to speak to him right here on Super Saturday, and he joins us down on the ground right now. Steve, of course, another blow to be out, but how long is that groin injury going to keep you out of action for the moment?
Hopefully we'll be back in about another 3 weeks. It'll be nice, but I'll start running next week, which will be good, so I'll just play it by ear.
I suppose one of the benefits for the Newcastle Knights is while you've been out of action, they've certainly been able to give the likes of Matt Jobson and Andrew Price plenty of game time out there, and the rookies really have stood up, haven't they?
They have. They're going really well. It's good to get a bit of experience early on in the year, and that'll should help us out for the back end of the year.
It's got to be frustrating for you because the start of the season for you had been a pretty good one.
Yeah, it was good actually. Like, it was good to get a few, like the win against the Warriors under the belt, and the Roosters was a tight game. So yeah, I'll hopefully be back in 3 weeks and hopefully carry on.
What's Michael Hagan said to the side during this week, knowing that there's probably a game that you should go out and win here pretty easily? Has it been hard to keep the guys motivated for this game against the Tigers?
I don't think so. I think they played well last week and had a good win down at Cronulla, which we haven't won down there for a while. So they played well, and hopefully they can do the same again tonight. But we just can't take the Tigers too lightly because they're a very good side.
That might have been just the win you were looking for, because of course the week before was a fairly easy game against the Melbourne Storm up here, and that was a very solid workout last week down there at Toyota Park for the boys.
Yeah, it was, exactly. It's good to come out of the Canterbury game too. I think the guys sort of got a lot of confidence out of that game and took it into the Sharks game, so with a bit of luck they'll be able to carry it on again.
Now, the injury, Steve, will keep you out of the City Country game in a couple of weeks' time, but of course you'll be back with a few weeks up your sleeve to try and impress for State of Origin. You'd love to be back there once again for New South Wales against Queensland this year.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get 3 games under my belt, hopefully, and if I play well in them, you never know what'll happen. So it'd be great to sort of get a run in a game like that again, because it's the best football in the world. So we'll see what happens.
Everybody talks about the difference in speed between club football at first grade level and also at Origin level. How much of it do you notice when you step up to this sort of game?
It's massive, and there's a lot more nerves and that sort of thing involved as well. So yeah, there's a lot of adrenaline that running through the body, and that sort of ties you out a little bit as well. So it's definitely a great game, and hopefully I'll get another start this year, and it'd be a great experience again.
We'll see what happens with the injury, of course, and see how you get back to playing when you do come back from it. It'd be good to see you back out there. And it'd be good to see Matt Parsons score another try tonight, because he broke through for the first time in a long time last week against the Sharks. It had been 77 games since he scored a try in first grade, and this was in fact his first for the Newcastle Knights, and it must have been a pretty big moment for the boys. They looked pretty happy afterwards.
Yeah, I think Parso actually said the boys were more excited than what he was, but I don't think that was the truth. Parso was pretty excited to get across the line, and I'm sure he'll be hungry for a few more.
Was he telling you all about it afterwards? Did it take half an hour of the story to relive that bold 100-metre run to the line?
He's pretty humble about it. He didn't really say too much about it, so yeah, it'd be nice for him to get over again, then he might start talking a little bit then.
What about Adam Woolnough, mate, the other front row? I think he's been in outstanding form for you so far, and where's he come from?
He's originally from Singleton, up my neck of the woods, but he moved to Taree with his family, and just come down from there and just been in the junior system, I think, since he was sort of 15 or 16, and he's going great guns for us. He's improving with every game, and he's really a top line sort of front row at the moment.
Of course, plenty of rookies we mentioned that have had their chance to blood for the first time with the Newcastle Knights. There's been 5 of them who've played only something like a total of 28 games, and Matthew Jobson, 10 games, has been terrific. Reagan Tanner will see him in action for the first time tonight. He's from the Curry Club. What you can tell us about him?
He's a very good player, Reagan Tenner. He's sort of worked his way through, I think, in the grade with, I think he's in the same age group as Adam Woolnow and Kirk Gidley and Blokes Lad, so it'll be a good game for him. He's been playing very good football over the last sort of month or two, and he'll go great today, I think.
Well, Steve, thanks for your time. We wish you good luck with the injury. We'll hope to see you back out on the field for the Newcastle Knights very soon.
Thanks very much, guys.
Steve Simpson down there on the field. Of course, the Newcastle Knights second row out of action for perhaps the next 3 or so weeks, and they're in a good position, the Newcastle Knights, if they can keep this role going. Well, they've got the likes of Ben Kennedy in and out of action, and Steve Simpson, of course, out himself. They've also got Kurt Gidley on the sideline. Once they get all these players back, they're going to be a side to be reckoned with, aren't they?
Oh, they certainly are. They're a great side to watch play rugby league. They make a lot of mistakes, but I tell you what, they can score tries, and that's the big thing about this team here, is that they are willing to make 4 or 5 mistakes and a half to try and get the ball across the line. But what I do like is Michael Hagan, the way that he has the ability now to blood some of these young players that come into the side. Because some of these other players are getting a little bit old in the tooth and that, and he's just getting them blooding them in nice and easy, like Woolnow, who I think has been outstanding for him. He's only going to learn off the guys like Matt Parsons.
Okay, well, we've spoken to Steve Simpson about the Newcastle Knights, but we'll come back after this break on Super Saturday to preview more the Knights and the Tigers. Player, and the Tigers won't be able to stop him, but the best they can do is try and limit the chances he gets inside their own 20 metres.
And I think what they've got to do is put plenty of pressure on Andrew Johns here tonight. I know it's very easy to sit here and say that, but I think they've got to at least nominate 2 players to put pressure on him and tackling him. And even when he passes the ball from the scrum, the young tipper that's been given an opportunity here for the West Tigers got to get around, put Andrew Johns on the ground so he doesn't get involved in that next set of 6, because he can hurt you from anywhere in the paddock.
Well, let's hear from their coach, Michael Hagan, who's standing by downstairs, and he's with Greg Alexander.
Ben Kennedy, how close was he to playing today?
Well, we thought he might have been a bit closer than he was. He pulled up sore on Thursday, and it's probably another week or maybe 2.
In his absence last week, I thought Daniel Abraham was just outstanding.
Yeah, Daniel's going very well for us, and I thought he was among our best last week, and he's got a fair bit of responsibility at the moment without Ben Kennedy and Steve Simpson in the back row.
Now, it's a great breeding ground up here in Newcastle, and you're probably fortunate for the amount of injuries you've had, and you've pulled another young kid up today from Curry, Reagan Tanner. Can you tell us a bit about him?
Yeah, Reagan's been in our club for probably 4 or 5 years, was our Jersey Flag Player of the Year last year, has been going pretty well in First Division, and we think a good opportunity for him this week with a number of senior players still there to help some of the younger blokes along.
Mick, in a game you're expected to win. Is it hard to build the boys up for a sort of game like this?
I just think with the way teams are aiming up at the moment and the amount of upsets that are on the cards, if you don't turn up with the right attitude, you're in trouble. So I think on the back of what we've done the last couple of weeks has been good, but you really need to turn up again today and make sure you get the job done.
Thanks for your time, Mick. Good luck.
Thanks, mate. Ta.
Let's take a look at the Newcastle Knights side and confirm those changes for you. Daniel Abraham there shuffles back to the lock forward position. Adam Woolnow moves up into the second row with Ben Kennedy missing, and the addition on that bench is Reagan Tanner. The youngster, the coach, of course, is Michael Hagan, but that is some sort of backline.
Oh, it certainly is. Davis and Tahu, they're going to really create a lot of havoc, especially when they're returning the football from the kicks that the West Tigers will certainly put down, but it's going to be a very difficult game for the West Tigers.
It's time for the toss. Let's take you downstairs. Our referee tonight is Sean Hampstead, and the stand-in captain at the toss for the Newcastle Knights is Danny Buderus, and also there is Tigers skipper Darren Centre.
We are John toss. Danny, you call. Yeah, it's a tail show, right?
Mate, we'll run down this one.
Right, get the way. Right, fellas. Danny, stand-in skipper. Joey's been held up somewhere.
Yeah, he's in there getting strapped now. So, just tossed the coin and lost. So, yeah.
And Tigers have had a couple of losses. I suppose they'll be desperate for and a desperate side's always a dangerous side.
Definitely, especially the way they play. They'll be up and in our face. So, the start's everything, and we really want to start well.
And they can be a physical side too, the Tigers. You'll be ready for that?
Yeah, we've spoken about that. We've had a couple of physical ones this year, and this won't be no different.
Thanks for your time. Good luck, Danny.
Danny Buderus and Darren centre there with Greg Alexander. Is there any way the Tigers can pull off an upset here tonight?
No. I think Newcastle will certainly get away with the game, but the West Tigers will make it very, very tough for them, especially around their ruck area. They're expecting that, so expect 2 long passes from Andrew Johns early in the game.
Matthew Gidley can't believe it. Tim Sheen's about the only thing he's had to smile about all night. There's the full-time siren. It ends 80 minutes of agony if you're a West Tigers supporter. The Newcastle Knights have beaten the West Tigers 34 points to 6. Terry Hill goes up to shake Andrew Johns' hand. They were outclassed right across the paddock tonight, the Tigers. They didn't have too many answers to what the Knights were able to throw at them in the first 10 minutes especially.
No, especially what Greg Alexander did say in the first half. They were attacking that right side, and they come out in the second half, decided to attack Terry Hill's side, and Butner and Beckett come up with numerous breaks down that left-hand side and come up with tries too. But I thought the West Tigers tried very, very hard here tonight, Warren. I thought their defence was a lot better than it was against the Parramatta Eels last week, but mate, the Newcastle side, they were on fire. The handling, the skill that they've got, their kicking game, their chasing defence I thought was the best we've seen for a long time, and they really didn't slacken off. Come away with winners here, 34 points to 6. A good result here for the Newcastle and, of course, their fans.
Let's go downstairs right now where Greg Alexander is standing by.
Sean, a decisive win tonight. It was probably a danger game too.
Yeah, it's definitely a danger game. You know, we just come off 2 really good wins against the Bulldogs and the Sharks, and we knew, you know, the Tigers are going to be pretty desperate, and we needed to come and play, and we did. So.
What about those 3 tries? 3 tries in a match isn't bad, but what about 3 tries in a half?
Yeah, it's not too bad. You know, I get that first one in a couple of minutes was pretty good. I guess I was just in the right spot at the right time, and, you know, ended up with the tries, which is good.
Well done, mate. Congratulations. Good game. Joey, mate, it's been a good month of football, hasn't it, considering the injuries the Knights have got?
Yeah, we're missing Ben Kennedy and Steve Simpson, Adam MacDougall, Anthony Quinn, the list goes on. Every club gets it, but our depth, our young blokes are playing outstanding. That was a danger game for us tonight. If we didn't turn up, you know it can happen, but we played quite well.
Yeah, and you speak about those young forwards, and I think they're young, but they've played plenty of games. Blokes like Daniel Abrahams and Josh Perry really stood up tonight. I thought Daniel Abrahams last week, probably one of the best games I've seen him play for the club, and he did it again tonight.
Yeah, them 2 blokes, they're still only young. They're probably only 21, 22, but they've probably played 50, 60 first grade games, and they're probably close to take the next step and playing rep footy. So, I hope they do get a start with country or New South Wales.
Good on you, mate. Congratulations.
Thanks, Brandy.
Andrew Johns with Greg Alexander. He had quite a night, as did Sean Rudder. And the Newcastle Knights fans are happy because their side has beaten the Tigers 34 points to 6. We'll take a break and come back to wrap it all up right after this. In Newcastle, the Knights have beaten the Tigers 34 points to 6 with 3 main talking points to come out of the game. Terry Hill placed on report for a dangerous throw there on Mark Hughes. That incident happening in the first half. Later on in the same half, Terry Hill made an on-field complaint of an eye gouge against Josh Perry of the Newcastle Knights. That will be looked at and referred straight to the Judicary, and there was plenty to talk about as far as the different incidents to come out of the game if it wasn't so much for the scoreline, because really the Newcastle Knights were way too good for the Tigers.
Oh, they certainly were. They started like they were the #1 team here tonight, and as we said before at the start of the show, that the West Tigers certainly had to turn up and play. I think they tried pretty hard, but their defence let them down, especially on the edge of the ruck, mainly around the ruck area. They were pretty good. I thought Darren Centre tried very hard for his side, but a lot of work to be done with the West Tigers.
Andrew Johns also found himself placed on report, that one in the first half, for this particular incident here for an alleged head slamming on Mark O'Halloran, which sent O'Halloran from the game, and he didn't return to the game at any stage from that point on. That was late in the first half. But here is the final scoreline. The Newcastle Knights 34 points to 6. Rudder 3 tries. Perry, Gidley there, all scoring. Of course, Rudder the star for the Newcastle Knights.
Work our way through all of the NRL issues from the Anzac Day round of matches. It's good morning to two pressmen who are no strangers to a game of two-up. Hello to Roy Masters. And here in studio, live in the flesh, Johnny Hucker.
In person.
In person.
It's great to touch and feel, Johnny. I tell you what, mate. I think you're real there for a while.
I think you've been sailing close enough to the wind already. I'll just leave it there.
I do too. Well, the massive news out of this weekend's footy, Andrew Johns.
Andrew Johns, yes. Andrew Johns is placed on report, the Australian captain, and expected to be obviously the New South Wales halfback and State of Origin captain. Placed on a report for a very heavy head slam.
I see you go behind Randall. Put on a report, right?
One which caused the Tim Sheens, the coach of West Tigers, to demand that he should have been sent from the field when the incident occurred.
Do you think he should have?
It didn't look flash. I think he'll get a couple of weeks. I think obviously by what he's written in the paper today, he's going to plead guilty.
This actually surprises me. I know in AFL that you can't do this, but in rugby league, he's commenting on basically
that's
where he's going to have to front the judiciary, and he's written an entire article.
Will he get in more trouble for that?
No, he won't. But on the other hand, players get an enormous amount of money from media outlets and ex-players get enormous amounts of money from media outlets. So consequently, it would be a bit hypocritical for them, therefore, to say that you can't write in the media about one of the most important incidents that you're involved in.
He's either going to plead guilty or plead the Miyadaki defence, obviously. I was just mad temporarily. Part of the discussion for another day, but the judiciary process still worries me that you can plead guilty and get a discount. I just find that whole idea of plea bargaining an affront to justice. I really do. But anyway, not so much for this incident, but it's one to talk about.
Was it established because some blokes were getting off too light rather than the other way?
But they get off light anyway. You say, look, I did it, so I'll plead guilty. And in some cases, if you've got a big game coming up, you'll plead guilty knowing that you won't get suspended. When otherwise you'd walk in and say, I didn't do it and I'm going to fight this.
The AFL, it's another issue altogether, but it's got to be pointed out the AFL are considering, and there's been a bit of support of introducing the NRL system. But anyway...
What about Terry Hill? His reaction after the Josh Perry tackle last night, I tell you, it was a concern. Now, you can't tell anything from the overlay. Perry's got his hands all over his face, but Terry Hill gets up, and I don't think he's telling Josh Perry, look, was it you that knocked off my house on the Central Coast this week? I think what he's saying is, you've eye-gouged me, and that's exactly what the charge is, a very serious one. And of course, Hill himself, if you make a charge and don't go on with it, you can be contrary conduct charge yourself.
He looks like he'll go on with it, though. He's pretty passionate.
Absolutely. Perry absolutely denies that he did it. It's the worst thing you can do.
It was the house of horrors in Newcastle last night, with Knights fullback Robbie O'Davis suffering a sickening facial injury, Andrew Johns cited for head slamming, and Tigers centre Terry Hill alleging face gouging. In Canberra, the Raiders maintained their unbeaten run with a 26-22 win against the Bulldogs. The Cowboys beat Melbourne 32-12 in Townsville, and the Knights were too good for West Tigers, winning 34-6 in an incident-marred match.
He has his nose spread all over his face. That is
Robbie O'Davis today undergoing surgery after suffering a compound fracture of the nose and a split palate. West Tigers winger Robbie Beckett on report.
Probably the worst broken nose and or facial injury I've ever seen.
No, official reporting went to eye gets me across the face. No, I'm making an official report.
Terry Hill alleging he was face gouged by Newcastle prop Josh Perry. The incident on report. This time, Hill on report for a dangerous throw on Mark Hughes.
I believe it to be number 7. Yep. He's coming in his head slammed the man while he's on the ground.
Newcastle captain Andrew Johns placed on report for head slamming and concussing Tigers winger Mark O'Halloran. 4 players on report. Tigers coach Tim Sheens says the referees need to show courage and send the players from the field, highlighting that Johns should have gone.
The referee's really got to look at the situation saying, well, why didn't I send him?
And that's ludicrous to suggest you're going to get sent off for that.
Newcastle's win over the Tigers could prove costly. Robbie O'Davis required facial surgery, while Andrew Johns and Josh Perry were placed on report.
4 players await the Commissioner's verdict after the match in Newcastle. Terry Hill reported first, then the Tigers centre made a complaint about Josh Perry.
No, official reporting went to eye gets me across the face. No.
Just before half-time, Andrew Johns joined the list for this tackle on Mark O'Halloran. Tigers coach Tim Sheens adamant more action should have been taken.
Yeah, I think he should have been sent off. It's pretty damn clear to me.
in hindsight, probably doesn't look great for him, and he may have a case to answer. So, we'll just let the league determine what that's going to be, and we'll take it from there.
A hat-trick from Sean Rudder helped Newcastle cruise to a 28-point win, but before full-time, Robbie Beckett was reported for a tackle that left Robbie O'Davis with horrific facial injuries.
Cracked the palate, which will require surgery this afternoon, and broken nose, of course. So I think we're going to miss him for a considerable amount of time.
And sport is next with Tim Webster, and the NRL Judiciary has its hands full.
They certainly do. Jess, it was a pretty spiteful and fiery weekend, and it's led to a host of charges, including head slamming for Andrew Johns. More shortly. Newcastle captain Andrew Johns faces a possible 3-week suspension after being charged with a head slam in that controversial match against the West Tigers. But the Tigers' Robbie Beckett is breathing easier tonight. Tony Peters joins us, and after that hideous injury, Tony, Robbie O'Davis out of hospital tomorrow.
Yes, Tim, he underwent an operation yesterday to correct both a broken nose and a cracked palate. Now, he was hoping to play his 200th first-grade game next weekend for the Knights. Now, the Tigers winger Robbie Beckett was in charge for this tackle, which you're seeing on screen now, but was made on O'Davis. It was deemed as accidental. Now, the Tigers did think that there was no case to answer.
Yeah, that was certainly our view when we saw the incident. It's unfortunate for Robbie O'Davis. I think it's the game that we play. It's played hard, it's played tough, but certainly I've been in contact with Newcastle today, and hopefully Robbie will be back on the field as soon as he can.
Robbie O'Davis was hit with a lot of force, and he was travelling very quickly, so again the angles weren't clear to us, and we'll have to accept the league's position on that, and I mean that's what they're there for, to review things of that nature, and we'll take it on face value.
Yeah, it was awful. And Johns has been charged with grade 2 contrary conduct.
A lot of interest in this case, Tim. That tackle that Andrew Johns made on the young West Tigers centre Mark O'Halloran saw him take no further part in the game. Now, O'Halloran's being monitored by the West Tigers doctors today as we speak, and Tigers coach Tim Sheens was criticised for saying at the time that he thought Andrew Johns should have been sent off. Now, the Knights will decide tomorrow whether to contest the Johns case. An early plea will see him out for 2 weeks.
Of it. Tim was asked a question. He has an obligation to the club and the media to answer that question honestly and in the best interests of West Tigers, and that's what Tim did.
Yeah, and West Tigers centre Terry Hill involved in 2 cases.
Yes, Tim, he alleged he was eye gouged by the young Newcastle Knights front rower Josh Perry, and of course, given the seriousness of the case, it's been referred straight on to the NRL Judiciary. Now, that matter, as I said, will be referred for tomorrow, and the 2 clubs obviously differ in their thoughts on the eye gouging.
Yeah, that's that process. Once the incident's referred by the referee, and then the NRL just hand the charge on, which is what happened today.
Now, what's the situation regarding Terry Hill from the Tigers' point of view? Do you have any say over this?
Terry's required under the rules to go down and give evidence on Wednesday night.
It's not conclusive from our point of view, and Josh is adamant that there was nothing in it, so we'll give him our full support, and he'll go and appear about that on Wednesday night, I think. We'd be fairly confident he'll get off.
Ken Sutcliffe with Sport is next, and the league judiciary gets set for some overtime.
Jim, they do have a bit on their plate as a result of a casually riddled weekend of bruising rugby league. Newcastle skipper Andrew Johns had a list of 8 league players facing charges following a rough and ready 7th round of the Premiership. If Johns pleads not guilty to a head slam and loses his case, he'll be sidelined for 3 weeks. His teammate Josh Perry has been accused of eye gouging.
Johns elected to miss an optional training session today, and club officials are still to decide how he'll plead. The tackle on the Tigers' Mark O'Halloran has caused a furore between the clubs, while O'Halloran himself is still feeling the effects almost 48 hours later.
It's unfortunate, but it's in the hands of the judiciary, so that's all I can say, really.
If Johns fights the charge and is found guilty, he'll miss 3 games, including the City-Country clash. If he pleads guilty, Johns will miss 2 club matches. And Newcastle's Robbie O'Davis remains in hospital after a bloody round of football. A collision with the Tigers' Robbie Beckett left O'Davis with horrendous fractures of the nose and palate. And his mum and dad aren't convinced it was an accident.
Robbie feels himself as though he did have time to pull out, and could have been avoided.
Beckett was placed on report, but was cleared today.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to give him a call and have a chat to him and make sure he's all right, and just say to him that I regret the incident.
From the same game, Newcastle's Josh Perry is also in trouble, accused of eye gouging Terry Hill.
On to sport now with Mark Beretta. Problems for Newcastle, Mark?
Yeah, there sure are, Ross. Playmaker Andrew Johns facing suspension. That's next. Newcastle's Andrew Johns is facing a 3-week suspension after being charged for a head slam in Saturday's win over the Tigers.
Newcastle's Andrew Johns could miss up to 3 weeks for his head slam on Tiger Marco Halloran.
Oh, it's part of the game. It's unfortunate what happened, but I'm fine now.
Tiger Terry Hill faces a 1-week ban for a dangerous throw, but the accusations of gouging he made against Knights prop Josh Perry have been referred straight to the judiciary. Newcastle fullback Robbie O'Davis is still in hospital after this sickening head clash with Robbie Beckett.
As I was going in, I was committed to the tackle when I spun, and as I've hit Robbie, my head's flung back and I've got a knock right on there.
O'Davis underwent surgery for a fractured nose and cracked palate, but the league's cleared Beckett.
Yeah, it's a freak accident. I'm just lucky I come out of it not too bad, and I just feel so sorry for Robbie, and hopefully he gets better soon.
Spite night. Knights angry over gouge claim. It was a night of mayhem. Joey should have been marched. The bloodbath leads to an all-out war. Joey's mayhem. He'll cop it sweet. And my moment of madness. For a one-sided game of football, the Knights and the Tigers certainly provided plenty of headlines on Saturday night in Newcastle. Hello everybody, and thanks for joining us on NRL Scoreboard, with round 7 notable for the number of underdogs who came away with the points and the number of players who might be headed to the judiciary on Wednesday night. To take us through the next hour, Laurie Daly and Steve Mortimer are with me, and well, for the second time in a couple of seasons, as Andrew Johns said, he had his moment of madness.
Yeah, exactly right, Warren. I don't think Andrew could do much about it. I think that he's probably copped the plea, sit out a couple of weeks, and as you say, just a moment of madness for Andrew Johns. Look, I realised what he was doing. He was trying to get O'Halloran onto his back, but it was a tackle that's gone wrong, Turf.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's got to face the judiciary, and I think probably he'd be best to cop it and then get on with it and see if the Knights can build some victories without him.
Now, Knights hooker Danny Buderus had to stand in for Andrew Johns at the toss because Joey was running a little bit late to get to the ground, which had Coach Michael Hagan explaining it this way.
Apparently the surf was 4 to 6 foot and he was out there carving up. Honestly, he just got a bit weight. I think his clock stopped, honestly. He was watching race 7 and thought, it's still only 2:30.
So what time did you get here?
Oh, about an hour before. Like the under-7s, mate, just come and put your boots on, there you go.
In the car.
And sometimes you get the impression that's the way they approach it. Just turn up with your boots and go out there and play as they do in the under-7s, throw it around and have a good time, the Knights.
Yeah, I don't think any other player could do that. Just turn up with an hour to go and go out and play so well. And that's Andrew Johns. I think that he wants to do other things away from football as well. But when it comes to football, regardless of what time he gets there, he switches on straight away, and not many people have got the capacity to do that.
And you've got to give their coach Michael Hagan a big rap. I've had the opportunity to play with him at the Bulldogs, but what is a good coach? Is a coach that can develop a good relationship with his players, and he's almost one of the boys, but he knows where the line is. And look, I think he's been Andrew Johns' best ally or man behind him playing his best football in the last couple of years.
Well, at the end of the day, you want players to follow the team rules, and you also want them to play at their best week in, week out. And I don't know whether there's team rules about what time you have to turn up for a game. As long as you're ready for the warm-up, I suppose that's good enough. And with Andrew Johns, he can just walk in, get strapped, go out there and play, and as I said, only special players can do that.
You can't surf, but can you skateboard? What did Tim Sheen say to you?
He can do nothing. He used to get me out of the pub.
To go and play a game of footy now.
No, I'm only joking.
Sean Rudder was in fine form, scoring a hat-trick of tries in the second half, and was asked about it after the game.
Yeah, I've been playing I think I've been playing well for most of the start of the year, and it's just easy with so many good players around us, and with Joey and Benji and that going forward and going so well, you've really only just got to play off them and, be in the right spot in the right time and you come up with, a couple of tries and that. And, it's just great to play inside them blokes.
His job was under pressure at the start of the season, but Sean Rudder certainly has responded.
Are our top rugby league stars too greedy? Fans are asking that question today after a rich list of the game's superstars revealed many of them living the high life.
It may be the people's game, but rugby league fans could never dream of the money their favourite players earn. The demise of Super League was supposed to signal the end of big money deals. It didn't.
You know, these top 10 guys are on good money, but they certainly earn it. They devote their whole lives to rugby league now, and you've got a very short time to make that count.
Rugby League week has surprised many NRL followers, placing Brisbane's Gorden Tallis top of the rich list. At age 30, Tallis scores himself $925,000 a year. Next best is Andrew Johns. The 28-year-old's bank account boosted by about $875,000. Roosters star Brad Fitler on a similar playing field, the 31-year-old's club contract making up the bulk. The rest are Craig Gower, Warriors skipper Stacey Jones and 21-year-old Braithen Astor, Brett Kimmorley and Broncos star Darren Lockyer, Terry Hill and Trent Barrett rounding out the top 10. The average footballer takes home $150,000 a year, but spare a thought for the likes of young Roosters centre Lalea Paya. In his first season of top grade, he'll be lucky to make 10 grand. Manly's Jason King is another, doing his best for less than 20,000.
I've got the young players looking for an opportunity that they're getting the same money that you could get on the working at the Leeds Club on a tray each night.
Peter Peters lined up for the Seagulls in the 70s, an era when you played for the love of the game, although there were exceptions.
Bobby Fulton was a top paid player in Manly when I played. He was on $50,000 a year, which is a lot of money in those days.
He's not bitter at missing out, insisting players should rake it in while they can. Frank Coletta, 10 News.
And sport is next for Tim Webster, and Andrew Johns cops his 2-week suspension.
Yeah, he has, but 4 other players just will fight their cases more shortly as the Dragons prepare for a big homecoming. Robbie O'Davis out of hospital and counting the days to another comeback. Newcastle fullback Robbie O'Davis was released from hospital today after that shocking facial injury last Saturday night. Tony Peters joins us, and gee, he certainly looks a long way away from playing at the moment.
He doesn't look the best, as you would expect him, most certainly. He underwent surgery on Sunday for a broken nose and a cracked palate. And, of course, he's expected to be sidelined for at least the next month, to say the least, Tim. You can see him up nice and close and personal there, following that incident with Robbie Beckett, which, of course, was an accident, deemed to be an accident, and Beckett wasn't charged. But according to Robbie O'Davis, Tim, his young daughter, Kearney, has put a condition on his returning to play.
That's it, Dad. I don't want you to play that sport anymore because I think I've said before in the press, she doesn't call it football, she calls it punch the boys. And she said, no, I don't want you to play that no more. And then I just had a chat during the car on the way from school, and she just passed on to me that I just had to get rid of the facial injuries now before I could play again.
Oh, God love her. Now, the judiciary could be sitting pretty late tomorrow night, mate.
Yes, it's certainly going to be a night of the long knives, isn't it? I guess the case involving Josh Perry and Terry Hill takes a lot of particular interest there, but also a couple of other cases. Mark O'Mealy, Amos Roberts and Terry Hill, who's also got his own case to answer. They're all going to contest theirs, Tim. The only person of note who's taken an early plea, of course, is Andrew Johns, who's going to miss out on the games against the Storm and South Sydney. He's going to sit out the next 2 weeks.
In Newcastle, Andrew Johns has pleaded guilty to a head-slamming charge and will miss the next 2 games against Melbourne and Souths. Test hooker Danny Buderus has been named as his replacement. Hoping to make an appearance at Newcastle's training this week is Robbie O'Davis. Discharged from hospital today after fracturing his nose and palate, O'Davis has been told he can play again in 4 to 6 weeks.
One of them times in life where you wish you were knocked out.
Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
And the list of the richest league players has just been released. Brisbane's Gorden Tallis has come out on top, taking home $925,000 a year, a third of it through endorsements. Newcastle's Andrew Johns is not far behind on $875,000, while Rooster star Brad Fitler is on $850,000. Craig Gower from the Panthers is on $600,000, and New Zealand warrior Stacey Jones makes $550,000. The list was compiled by Rugby League Week.
Sport is next with Mark Beretta, and Andrew Johns is out. Mark?
Yes, Anne, gone for 2 weeks while his wounded Newcastle teammate lashes out at the league. Newcastle, meanwhile, are without Andrew Johns for 2 weeks after he pleaded guilty to a head slam. But a wounded teammate can't understand why his attacker was let off.
It's a face only a mother could love.
My daughter came up to me and just sort of said, that's it, Dad. I don't want you to play that sport anymore. She doesn't call it football, she calls it punch the boys.
Robbie O'Davis's head clash with Tiger Robbie Beckett late in Saturday night's game has left him in a bad way and he's angry.
You don't attack anyone's head at any time in the game, let alone that point in the game.
But what's upset O'Davis the most is that the Knights have lost skipper Andrew Johns for 2 weeks after he pleaded guilty to a head slam, and prop Josh Perry still has to answer a gouging accusation. Yet Judiciary Commissioner Jim Hall claims his was only an accident.
They seem to get theirs pretty right, so I can't see how they couldn't get mine right when I walked off the field with a bloody nose, and them guys got nothing more than maybe a headache and something to whinge about.
It will be a dramatic night at the NRL Judiciary starting in just a few minutes. 4 players to appear, most interest centred on Knights prop Josh Perry. Tony Peters joins us. An interesting case this, hard to pick the outcome.
Certainly is, Tim. Josh Perry has just made his way into the NRL Judiciary about 5 minutes ago with Mark Sargent, the Newcastle Knights football manager, and also the club's legal aids. Now, the last case, Tim, that was vaguely similar to this one was Warriors captain Matthew Ridge back in 1999. Now, he got 8 weeks for an incident which involved Leslie Vainicolo. Now, Tigers centre Terry Hill will produce photographic evidence here tonight claiming a hand raked across his face, and he has the scratches on his face to in fact back up his allegations. But the Knights are confident of the outcome.
What to know, Josh Perry, it's not his nature to do that. I spoke to him after the game and he was adamant he didn't gouge Terry Hill, and as I said, he's a good fella and it's not his go.
Josh has swear blind that he didn't eye gouge him. Whether his hand's there or not, who knows? It's up to the panel, but that's not Josh's go. He's a great young kid and a great front rower. He's a fiery bloke, and he'll be right tonight, I'm sure.
Now, do you think what happens to Josh Perry tonight will have a vital impact on the Knights' premiership prospects?
Tim, the Newcastle Knights at the moment are without a staggering 14 first-grade players, including 5 internationals, among them Robbie O'Davis, Andrew Johns and Bet Kennedy, and I'm told it's only going to get worse.
Matty Parsons is going to be out for up to 3 months after this game, so that's another injury blow. So we'll see how we go after that.
That's something you've dropped on me. What's happened there?
Mate, he's back. This is his last game for 12 weeks out. So.
It's a busy night at the League Judiciary with 4 players answering charges from round 7. Newcastle prop Josh Perry faces the biggest penalty after being accused of gouging West Tigers' Terry Hill.
Perry is not only convinced he's innocent, he's also arguing Hill should be charged with bringing the game into disrepute. The Knights' young prop says the accusations have also tainted his reputation. A stand supported today by his captain, Andrew Johns.
What to know, Josh Perry, it's not his nature to do that. I spoke to him after the game and he was adamant he didn't gouge Terry Hill.
Johns spoke up at the launch of the league's representative season, and Gorden Tallis also didn't miss his chance. The Brisbane and Queensland captain was outraged at reports putting his annual salary at close to $1 million.
But it's a joke. So that means that Broncos can only run out 3 Gorden Tallises on the field. And that's what
4 players are fronting the NRL Judiciary tonight on foul play charges. Patrick Monaghan is there, and Pat, most attention is on Josh Perry.
Yes, Mark, the Newcastle prop will defend a gouging complaint from Tiger Terry Hill. Now, the last player put out for gouging was former Warrior Matthew Ridge back in 1999 when he was suspended for 8 weeks. Josh Perry has the club's football manager, former Knight Mark Sargent, arguing his innocence. Newcastle's case is that footage of the incident does not show him gouging, and that at the time Terry Hill only said Perry had attempted to gouge him.
What I hear, they're really confident to get off. What to know, Josh Perry, it's not his nature to do that. I spoke to him after the game and he was adamant he didn't gouge Terry Hill.
With their horror injury run, the Knights can't afford another suspension. Already skipper Andrew Johns is out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I just prefer to be playing as many games as possible, but unfortunately I'll sit him out and then come back even stronger, hopefully.
Johns joined Queensland's Gorden Tallis for the launch of this year's representative season, but not all the game's greats are happy with the way referees are handling foul play.
I think they've pretty much fallen on the cop out of reporting, and that seems now to be the standard for every action.
And some people think that it's an easy way out, but I think it's like the fair way.
Ken Sutcliffe with Sport is next, and the Knights appeal for their man.
Yes, Jim, over last night's raking conviction. But is Josh Perry the only one? We think maybe not. The Newcastle Knights have officially appealed against front rower Josh Perry's 1-week suspension for raking the face of an opponent. The league still to decide if the appeal will go ahead. Perry is the first player charged with this offence. But if the pictures in this next story are any indication, he certainly won't be the last.
While Perry trained with teammates in Newcastle, the Knights legal team met Judiciary Chairman Justice Greg Woods. He'll decide tomorrow if Perry can appeal against his one-match ban for raking the face.
An offence of that nature is name has certainly never been before the judiciary before.
In this tackle during last Saturday's match between Newcastle and West Tigers, the Tigers' Terry Hill claimed Perry tried to eye gouge him. After last night's 2-hour hearing, the judiciary found Perry guilty of contrary conduct, but only after downgrading the charge from eye gouging to raking the face.
The hearing changed during the course of that, and that's probably where some of the misunderstanding occurred, and we're a little bit on the back foot, I guess, when that decision came down.
A search through last weekend's matches found several questionable incidents that could be classed as raking the face. Just before claiming he was eye gouged by Perry, Hill was involved in this tackle on Newcastle's Danny Buderus.
If they want to rule that, I think it's something that they'll have to keep an eye on, put it that way.
Later suspended for a week on a separate dangerous throw charge, Hill stood his ground on the Perry incident.
I've got no enjoyment out of coming down here and giving evidence against another player, but that's the new rule by the NRL, and that's what I had to do.
Well, sports next. Mark Beretta, an appeal by Newcastle.
Yeah, that's right, Ross, but Josh Perry's suspension has generated plenty of debate. That's next. Rugby League's judiciary system is again under fire after Newcastle's Josh Perry was banned for a week for raking Terry Hill's face. While the Knights have appealed, many fear the decision opens a box of trouble.
It was business as usual for Josh Perry and the Knights at training, but some fear Rugby League has been changed forever by the judiciary's decision to ban Perry after finding him guilty, not of gouging, but of raking and clawing Terry Hill's face.
I think any player enjoys coming down here and giving evidence against another player. It was no enjoyment for me, but they're the rules now.
Perry's wasn't the only face massage in round 7.
Yeah, I think the bloke he done it to is one of the best at it, Terry Hill.
Players want to know where the judiciary will draw the line.
Yeah, well, that's the question. I mean, once they've penalised Josh Perry, they'll have to do it to everyone.
What's raking somebody's face and what's not? You know, like, I know every time I get tackled, I feel something on my face.
Well, there's a good old face massage that everyone does when you're on your back, so if they start... Now, if that's considered what Josh Perry did, then we could open a can of worms.
But while Perry was put out, none of these players was called by the Judiciary Commissioner to account for what appear to be similar actions.
What is it, a week? Yeah, as you say, is it a week every time it happens? So, I don't know, mate. I'm at a loss to understand how our judiciary works. So there's 250 tackles in a game, they might get about 200 of them.
There's a poll on the internet saying should we wear helmets, so I don't know where our sport's going at the moment. But
Patrick Mullahan, 7 News.
And while Ray Chesterton and Mike Gibson might not be quite as scary, they do deliver the odd verbal bouncer. And tonight they debate this question: should Andrew Johns have copped more than 2 weeks for head slamming?
Well, he should have been sent off immediately, and he should have been sentenced to 4 weeks, because head slamming to me is, you know, it's akin to spear tackling. It's an appalling thing to do to a bloke.
But I think he was intimidated by the thought of going before the judiciary. He should have got off. Mate, if it was that serious as everyone's saying, they would have given him more than 2 weeks. He wouldn't have got out of it for 2 weeks. He would have been out for 10. It wasn't that serious. Mate, if we didn't have head slamming, where would we get politicians from?
Ray, I was about to say, you know, you only get one head, and in your case, and mine, I guess, that's unfortunate. But, I mean, when you get a fella who's defenceless, and you slip him over, and you belt him like that, and you slam his head into the ground, you know he's going to be knocked unconscious, he's going to suffer concussion, he might suffer permanent damage. I mean, you saying he shouldn't have even got a week?
Shouldn't have got anything at all. Should have just been told that the accidents do happen. Ever thought of badminton? They're about 30 feet apart. No one gets touched. You'd love it. You'd really like badminton. There's no physical contact.
You've been head slammed once too often.
It's like your dates, there's no physical contact.
And having seen those two pummel each other for another week, let's take a look at a few other brawlers. Tonight, it's our top 10, the great footy punchers.
When it comes to cheeky use of the biff, there was no better exponent than Chris Close, who backhands Eric Groth out of the way here at Lang Park in 1981 to score for Queensland in a memorable Origin victory. Welsh prop Graham Price was an old-school hardhead, but his jaw couldn't survive a short blast from the man they called the Gunslinger, Wallaby Steve Finane, at the SCG in 1978.
The incident remains one of the darkest moments in Australian rugby history.
Matthew Pavlich had a fiery baptism for the Dockers in 2000 when ex-Golden Gloves boxer and Eagle ruckman Michael Gardner opened up with his left-right combinations.
Coming from everywhere, Dennis, it's a free kick.
Matt Dunning looks like Butterbean, but he throws them like Mike Tyson. Have a go at him cleaning up Germain Lanz, the Argentinian lock in the Waratahs game 3 years ago.
Matt Dunning and Hagan been having words and pushing each other.
Shane Webke and Kevin Campion had two of the roughest heads in the NRL. But when the Broncos took on the Warriors last year, Campion landed a series of straight right hands that would have done Lennox Lewis proud.
Old teammates blowing up at Ericsson.
Duncan McRae has a reputation as a quiet, shy, retiring type. Yeah, right. Have a go at the Waratahs 5'8", smashing Irish counterpart Ronan O'Gara at Aussie Stadium 2 years ago.
Oh, tempers getting out of control out there now.
One of the most one-sided batterings in Trans-Tasman history came when Wallaby Michael Bryle punched the soul case off All Black centre Frank Bunce at Suncorp Stadium in 1996. The All Blacks won the match, but Bryle won the fight.
Just bad play.
Big Gorden Tallis has earned a reputation as a tough guy. Here's Godzilla letting them fly at Wigan forward Terry O'Connor at ANZ Stadium in 1997. O'Connor was less than impressed, saying, "My grandmother hits harder than him."
And they stood toe-to-toe and they let them go.
Gordon had more success in this exchange with Penrith's Ben Ross. In an attack so ferocious, the AFL said it was the perfect advertisement for Australian rules.
And it's on backfield. Tallis is into it. And you do not want to trade punches with the raging bull. Seconds out, it's round one.
One guy who knew how to throw them was Manly's Mark Broadhurst, an amateur boxing champ from New Zealand. But the Marquess of Queensbury couldn't help him when Newtown Steve Bowden tore into him in this 1981 semi-final.
They're going at it hammer at times, like two heavyweight fighters, these two. And on the quarter lines, another Millie with 5 or 6. Broadhurst down, Bowden still pumping punches into him. The line umpire standing over them. It's erupted again. Gerard is having a go there with Blight. Blight is down.
Some fine fistic fury in that lot. But if you think we missed an uppercut or two, send us an email. maingame@foxsports.com.au.
On a more serious note, the week that was with the Knights and Tigers game, Pete.
Yeah, it's a difficult week. We had some players fronting, and of course the most controversial game was that Knights-Tigers clash last Saturday night. A number of players outed from this one. Andrew Johns took an early guilty plea and will miss the next 2 weeks. It was
probably a smart decision by
I think so, yeah.
Andrew
Look, he had a case to answer. This is the on-field report. Terry Hill claiming that Josh Perry attempted an eye gouge, and we'll have a little bit of a discussion about that later. Not a good thing to see. And this is Terry Hill getting a week for a dangerous throw on Mark Hughes, and he will miss a week's football for that as well. Very unsavoury, as Chief pointed out. Robbie Beckett coming across a Newcastle break, and I don't think there's any drama with that. It's a head clash, yeah. Totally accidental, and I don't think there was a case to be answered on that one. But of course the most controversial one was the fact that Josh Perry will miss a week. I've got my own thoughts about this. I know we've got a fair Newcastle representation in some ways on the desk here. What did you think of this decision?
I think it goes further than just like Newcastle Tigers. It's going to open a whole Pandora's box if we're going to talk about hands on face, because the ruck area is messy as it is. Guys competing to get up and play the ball quick. Guys trying to keep them down. And you could watch that game and probably 100 times a person touches another bloke on the face. So, you know.
It's not over yet because they've gone for a leave of appeal at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and it's going to be adjourned till tomorrow so that they'll find out whether they can appeal, and maybe he might get off, because it's one of those things where when you play a physical sport, hands are going to end up on your face. And I think even during that game, there's been a bit of footage on the TV, on the news tonight, where even Terry was involved in something similar. So it's a part of the game. Well, not a part of the game, but it's just going to happen. You know?
I thought it was a really poor decision. Yeah. Firstly, because I don't think there was anything conclusive that you could ascertain from those pictures. And secondly, I thought the on-field report was for an attempted eye gouge. Josh Perry was found not guilty on that, and then all of a sudden they said, no, well, hang on, we're going to get you for something else.
For a hand massage, a facial massage. I mean, there's been a million of them over the years.
It'll make a big difference to Newcastle because they've got 8 blokes out, including obviously Joey Johns and about 4 or 5 internationals. You take him out as well, that's about 9 or 10, so it's going to make a big difference. So Knights fans will be waiting on tomorrow's decision, that's for sure.
All right, well, yesterday the rep season was launched out at Telstra Stadium in the Millennium Room out there. It was a pretty good day. All the rep coaches turned up, or most of them. Wayne Bennett didn't come down, but Phil Gould was there, Graham Murray, Brian Smith and Chris Anderson, the Australian coach. It was a pretty good day to launch the rep season, but Reagan was there and caused a bit of pandemonium.
Just from the Footy Show guys and also the Muswellbrook Mercury. Phil, I just wanted to know, most people think you're a moody, cranky prick, bit of an asshole. Is that a fair call?
Apparently I'm the only one in rugby league, Reg, yeah. I'm the only asshole, and it's only going to get worse because I'm going to become more of a asshole as this thing goes on, I think, so yeah.
Just one more question to Chris Anderson. I noticed you guys are playing the Russians at the end of the year. Is this unnerving, considering it was a Russian who killed Apollo Creed in Rocky IV?
I'm thinking of taking Cronulla over, actually. We're looking for a win.
Probably just missing an experienced 5'8", to be honest.
Well, Gus, you'll be watching that match on May 16 very soon. Did you want to ask something again, Rich?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the head slammer a question. You told me before the press conference on the Quiet, of course, quote, I will dominate this year's Origin series so much the people who live in Queensland will forget the name Wally Lewis. I just want to know, do you think you're raising your standards a little bit too high? Maybe Wally Fulton Smith should be more like it.
No answer. Andrew's asked, Reg, have you got another question?
Yeah, I've got one for Gorden, actually. Gorden, I was talking to Paul Hagan before the conference as well, and he said that last year you and the other Queensland forwards played like homos. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, we were very close.
That's it.
Thank you, Reg.
Yeah, Reg killed him out there yesterday, and part 2 of Reg from Millennium, from Telstra Stadium a bit later in the show.
I saw Wayne Bennett, he's going to lock the Queenslanders away in the wilderness there, no TV, no videos, no radio. I reckon they'll be riding each other by the end of the week, to be quite honest.
Well, that'll be Bronco riding, won't it?
Yeah, it will be. Sitting here with Queensland tough guy, Gorden Tallis. Gorden, where's Wayne today?
He's gone to the happy farm.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to let himself down. Mate, how good was it when you punched out of Benny Ross, hey?
Mate, that was no good.
No, that was good, mate. I'm telling you, my pencil was pointing towards Townsville. And old Ruth Reagan, the wife, she was thanking you for it too. I'll give you the drum. Gordy. I've got no time for modern day plays, but there's one bloke, he's almost reached hero status in the Reagan household. Adrian Morley. Moz, how you doing?
I'm good, cheers, Reg.
Great to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Mate, last year the Pommies come over to play a test match and, pretty much performed like a bunch of Can we expect better at the end of this year?
Definitely. It weren't ideal preparation to come halfway around the world mid-season and play the champs. But
listen, mate, what about these modern players nowadays? Not as good as it used to be, mate, when me and you went around.
Well, I've got to disagree with you, Reg, honestly. I've got to disagree with you on this because I love the modern day players. I love that. You know, when you see a bloke like that, that's his name, he comes from Newcastle, Johns, that's Johns.
Overrated, Johnny.
Oh, mate, my kids go and see that kid play and they take it back and they practice what he does. He's a perfectionist, mate.
Soft.
No, he's not soft.
He's soft, Johnny.
Mate, he's the best footballer in the world.
Listen, I usually agree with you, mate, but this time I'm sorry, old mate, you old wag, I'm going to disagree with you. Here with one of the true legends of Origin and a pretty good bloke too, Laurie Daly. That's some great memories, mate.
Yeah, they were, mate, down the road, isn't it?
Yeah. How are things going to the Dragons? What about Brownie? Face slapping?
Yeah, I know,
should be
mate.
sacked.
A bit dramatic at the time, yeah.
Sitting here with a big hero of mine, Mario Fenech. I say
Mario, not Mario. Mario.
What about your brother Nathan? I've heard he's broke his right thumb. How's he go with his left hand? You know what I mean?
Hey? Nah, I think he's right, mate. Might have to pop around and give him a hand, so to speak. Great show. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hey, Chiefy, last bloke here.
Hey,
half
mate.
Your pink shirt, your freaking cup of tea, what are you?
Wait,
Football
don't
son.
be coming around thinking.
Hey, I'm the king of the beer.
You're going to be
yeah,
taking it.
come on. Let's have a go. You know, it was his breath that knocked me out.
Thank you, hammered him. Poor old Reg. Go on.
He was on the drink, mate. He's a pestosaurus. I had to give a little something.
Mate, there'll be square-ups. Reg told me he eats blokes like you for breakfast, let me tell you.
Actually, now, we've just had a phone call. Our executive producer, Glenn Palrauder, has just had a phone call from Phil Gould, who has said he wants Reg to be the official conditioner for the New South Wales team. Well done, you, Gus. So that's big news. You might pass it on to Reg.
Yeah, he'll be over the moon about that. Oh, he's a fitness freak.
What do you think the diet would be? KBs and...
KB and meat pies and hot dogs and Chico rolls and all that good stuff, mate. Dim Sims.
All
Shitload
right.
of Dim Sims.
Well, they were already heavily depleted with 14 top graders out. Now the Knights will be without prop Josh Perry as well. Tony Peters joins us, and his application for leave to appeal obviously refused.
Yes, Tim. Justice Greg Woods rejected the Knights' claim that Josh Perry was convicted of the wrong charge, so to speak. Nonetheless, Perry flew to Melbourne today as the 18th man with the Newcastle Knights for the game against the Storm. Now, his place at this stage is going to be taken by another youngster, Andrew Price, who'll come into the starting lineup, and an unknown guy called Blake Mueller will come onto the bench. Now, it's yet another blow to coach Michael Hagan and his badly weakened team.
No, it's not good news from our point of view. Probably, I think in fairness, we wouldn't be real happy with the outcome, but we've got to accept the process and move on from here and hopefully get the job done tomorrow night without him.
Prop Josh Perry will have to serve his one-match ban for raking the face of a player after the NRL rejected Newcastle's attempt to appeal. Judiciary Chairman Greg Woods dismissed the Knights' bid, claiming he ordered the panel at the original hearing to consider only a contrary conduct charge.
Josh Perry joined his Newcastle teammates for the trip to Melbourne, hopeful of playing. Perry was reported for this incident with West Tigers' Terry Hill. The Knights tried to appeal because the contrary conduct charge was downgraded from eye gouging to raking the face during the hearing.
There's a new standard there now, I suppose. It means that you don't have to physically go in and attack someone's eyes. You can put your hand there and run the risk, I guess.
Newcastle's efforts to clear Josh Perry for the game in Melbourne have failed. An application to appeal his contrary conduct suspension dismissed.
We probably expected the worst and we're prepared to go without him, so just another setback for the team prior to a big game against Melbourne tomorrow night.
Well, last night Newcastle were comprehensively defeated by the Storm at Olympic Park down here in Melbourne, and joining us from the Knights is Danny Buderus. Welcome, Danny.
Hey, Joanna.
Now, look, I know it's always hard to come in after a loss, but the other hard part for your team in particular is that everyone immediately says Andrew Johns isn't playing, therefore the Knights can't win. I think it's 10 out of the last 11 matches that he hasn't played, you've lost.
I think it's, 10-11.
Yeah.
But not only were we missing Andrew Johns, we're missing Ben Kennedy, Steve Simpson. I could go on for a long time. We're missing three-quarters of a team there. So it was made hard, but a lot of players at the start of the year have got a lot of experience, a lot of junior players, so it'll only put us in good stead for the year to come.
Danny, a lot of the opposition coaches are getting a bit upset when a team thrashes another team and all of the attention goes on the poor performance of the beaten team. Up there in North Queensland last week, it was Graham Murray complaining about the fact that when they thrashed the Storm, all the talk was about the Storm having a poor performance. Now, all we've heard in the last 12 hours or so is how bad the Knights were. Surely you've got to give some credit to the Storm the way they played.
Definitely, they played really well, the Storm, and they were very hard to stop. But giving that, I think they were definitely top 8 team, the Storm, the way they played.
They had a lot to prove, didn't they, after their recent form?
Yeah, definitely. They went up there to North Queensland, and we knew our injury toll coming to this game was always going to be hard, especially with the way they played up there in North Queensland. At home for the Storm, it was going to be a real tough ask for us.
Danny, how long will it be until the Newcastle team is the team with all its stars, superstars back in action?
Well, we get 5 players back for the Rabbitohs next week, which we get Josh Perry, Kurt Gidley, who else? We get Ben Kennedy. There's another couple there, but I don't want to miss. But it's just that long. It's pretty hysterical, actually. But anyway, we'll get through it and come out the other side.
Yeah, just to put some perspective on yesterday's game, and I thought they played great, the Melbourne Storm. The halfback was fantastic, Orford. He's a top-shelf player. But, Danny, I heard yesterday, and I don't know whether you've done the numbers, I certainly haven't, but I heard yesterday that Newcastle have used 40 players this year. That surely can't be right.
Yeah, well, we've got 15 top liners out at the moment, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, 15 out of our first 20, so 25. So we're doing all right, you know. We're getting through. We've got Matt Parsons. He'll be out for 8 weeks after this week. He's getting an operation on his back. So I would say it's a roller coaster ride, and you just got to be there at the end of the year with a bit of luck. And,
the long-term benefits will be there, won't they, Roy? If that's the case.
Well, yeah, but see, the Storm have also had a shocking injury toll to begin the game, begin the year, and one of their players is in absolute outstanding form, and that's Billy Slater. What do you think of him? Billy,
he's I caught up with him last night. Actually, he's a great little player, and I don't think I've come across a quicker player. He's well balanced, and poor Mark Hughes there, he had absolutely no chance of stopping him, and he's electrifying. So
you look well balanced compared to Mark Hughes.
That's right. He's a Queenslander too, so they've got an abundance of wingers and outside backs they can pick from.
Danny, I'm interested that you're sitting there next to Roy. I don't know if you're aware, Roy actually went and spoke to the Melbourne Storm team on Friday night and gave them their motivational speech. Just feel free to mention it.
Now, I just want to make one point. You tend to take the view that modern players like yourself have no sort of knowledge, no respect for the traditions of the game. Now, maybe that's overstating it, but generally they don't know too much about what happened in the past. At that talk on Friday night, I was unbelievably gobsmacked about how much they actually did know. Melbourne Storm players particularly did know. So you'd sit down and they'd say, tell us about Tommy. You'd sit down and tell us about Dallas. So what do you think about the players of the past and the traditions? Do you ever think about them much?
Well, the game's obviously evolved and changed a lot since the yesteryear, but the players, I think they've obviously instilled the tradition that players want to lead up to now, and the game has obviously changed, as in the judiciary and all that sort of stuff and hardness, but the way the players play, it's still passionate, but it's a long season, you know, and the game's really changed from a powerful to a real strong, quick, so players are getting injured. And it's always going to have injuries, but you just got to deal with it and get through that side. And like I said, hopefully we're doing ours and we'll get through there at the end of the year.
We've got the representative season coming up very quickly. Where do you see any weaknesses in the New South Wales team compared to Queensland?
Well, New South Wales obviously got a good team to pick from, and Queensland always say that New South Wales will have an advantage, you know, because they've got so many players to pick from. But I think you can't fall into that trap. They play together week in, week out, Queensland and the New South Wales boys. That's why we had that camp probably a month or two ago, and really got together and sorted a few things out, and got a bit of camaraderie going there.
Harks, thanks Roy, thanks Danny. Good luck for the rest of the season.
It's their last. Rudder, quick hands to Albert. It's gone forward. The touchdown said went forward. The touchdown says it was forward. He's going to the video.
That's okay. I got to check the grounding on the ball so we can knock one in the goal first.
Yeah, Juggling try there. You're right, Gus? Juggling try to Darren Albert. It was given a fair four-pointer, and we will have Darren Albert's most famous try later in the show. Welcome back to Boots and All, and our forum topic today is about the 1997 Grand Final between Manly and Newcastle, and we're asking the Knights fans, where were they and what were they doing when Darren Albert scored the match-winning try?
There's 20 seconds on the clock. Albert, he will play it 21 metres away. Down the blind, Andrew John. Inside for Albert. Albert will score. Albert will score. Newcastle have won the Grand Final.
I was jumping up and down in my brother-in-law's lounge room.
One of the great moments of your life without knowing anything about you?
The greatest moment.
I was at Barna watching it on TV, and the crowd went wild. You know, we just jumped up and down, cheered. It was the best thing ever.
I was in the grandstand up the other end of the field.
The opposite end?
The opposite end.
Wouldn't you know it?
About as far away as you could get.
At my good friend Huey's place at Charlestown.
And what did you do?
Well, a little bit happy about that, yes. Out of jail.
We were there.
Sitting where?
Right up in the gods, but it was good view.
My friend shot on a plate.
Fill us in. Tell us more.
We were excited, so we jumped up and a couple of accidents.
Fell on a plate.
Yeah.
I was sitting at home with all my friends watching the telly, and he scored, and we just had a massive big stacks on. It was just brilliant.
Can you remember what you said as he raced across the line?
You beauty.
Newcastle have won the grand final. Melbourne is over. Melbourne has been beaten by Newcastle on full time.
Never tire of seeing that moment. I'm sure our Newcastle viewers don't either.
Newcastle's awful record without captain Andrew Johns is worse now after last night's game against Melbourne. The Knights have now lost 10 of their last 11 without Johns. The Storm poured on 8 tries to Newcastle's 1 for a 40-point win.
Melbourne bounced back from their loss against North Queensland in thunderous fashion, downing a depleted Knights outfit by 40 points.
Copping it a bit earlier on in the week, saying that the players had no soul and no heart, but I'm sure if you ask the 17 players, they'll say a lot different.
Look, on with the show, and the AFL, of course, they had the big brawl there last week, and there was $70,000 worth of fines for this. I mean, no one threw a decent punch. It was just a bit of pushing and shoving.
There's slapping, there's handbags,
I know.
there's pushing.
It's terrible.
There's body sliding,
So what the NRL have done, by the way, they've got someone to form a discipline committee. It's a committee of one, and here's what'll happen if something happens in NRL.
Hi guys! Yeah! 10,000, 20,000, $30,000.
Pretty good looking bloke.
Very good. Very good.
Absolutely little doubt that he's the right man for the job, and time now for lookalikes. And I normally get a spray on lookalikes, but this week, let's have a look. I think we've got 3 good ones. First up, well, there's a Reg Reagan lookalike. Simon Rowling sent that one. The next one, the Johns brothers. See if you can pick them out.
Oh, they're escape convicts. They're convicts.
What
about the lugs?
Dead set like looking in the mirror
Which
for
one's
Andrew
the cab doors?
and Matthew.
What about the cab doors?
And finally, young Chief as a young boy. Now...
Are you serious?
I don't exactly say.
You got to be joking.
Oh, mate, a lot of people out there believe that that's what you look like.
Very similar.
As a youngster. So thank you for those photos. Keep them coming.
You're kidding. And that's tops, Chief.
So that's tops. That's not tops. That's unbelievable, that one.
Mother's Day, Chief mentioned it earlier.
Yeah,
Coming up
look,
Sunday,
Mother's
big
Day is just such a
Massive
great day
day.
for all the mums out there, all of our mums, and of course our wives who are mums are too. Good on you girls, and have a great day on Sunday. But we let Reg Reagan loose, and he's out there with a special Mother's Day theme.
G'day, Reg Reagan here, and as you all know, Reggie boy isn't afraid of no one. Not referees, touch judges, not even bikies, no one. Except Mum, of course. Yeah, good old Rhonda Reagan. She was a tough old bag, not a very good mum, pretty neglectful, sometimes just plain brutal. But she made Reggie boy what I am today, as tough as nails, and I love her for it. It's Mother's Day on Sunday, and I thought I'd hit the streets and find out what people love most about their mum. What do you got planned to give your mum or your wife or anyone?
Gave my mother a new video recorder.
Oh, okay, mate. Did anyone ever tell you they got something on your shoulder? Mother's Day on Sunday. Looking forward to it?
Yeah. Sorry?
What's the most embarrassing thing your mum's ever caught you doing? Oh, look how on this fella's going a little bit red. I think I know what's going on. Look at this bloke. Hey?
You first, mate.
Hey, a bit touchy-feely. Look at this.
Happy Mother's Day, Mum.
Something different, because everyone's saying that.
Really?
Yeah. What are you expecting for Mother's Day? What sort of present would be nice?
Just a hug and a kiss.
Hug and a kiss. How about I give you a hug and a kiss now, eh? You like that? Come on. Give us a big hug and a kiss.
Have a good day. Even though I won't be there, I'll be extremely hungover at my girlfriend's house. I'll be thinking of you.
Something different, because everybody's been saying that too. Yeah.
All right.
What's the naughtiest thing you've ever caught your kids doing?
Same thing that you would have done.
Treating yourself like an amusement park? I got caught treating myself like an amusement park once. Let me tell you, it was no Ferris wheel, more like a haunted house. What's the most promiscuous thing your mum ever caught you doing as a kid?
Maybe putting on her pyjamas.
Yeah, pyjamas, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Is there? Ah, everybody does that. Rolls around the sandpit naked, getting in your mum's pyjamas, all the same sort of stuff. Good stuff.
Have a blinder on Saturday night and have a really warm, fuzzy Mother's Day.
Don't be picking stuff. Someone said that too. Like when you walk into a barbershop, what do you say to the bloke? Well, I mean, I know what I say. You know, what do you say?
Don't touch the length at the back.
Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Or I'll knock you out.
Yeah,
Is that what you say?
yeah.
One more. Just give it one more go.
Reg says Happy Mother's Day.
That's a good one, mate.
Like that one?
Yeah, that's good. So there you go. Do something nice for your mum on Mother's Day. I'm going to take Rhonda out for a feed, then we're going to go to the Tumor Tigers game, sit on there, have a few beers. Doesn't get any better than that. So to all you mums out there, have a ripper day. Good on ya. Actually, now I've got to get Rhonda some flowers. Oh, here we go, you beauty. I'm sweet. See yous.
Well, yeah, Reggie, and good luck to all those mums on Sunday. Speaking of stars, two of them about to do something special for us. Their house, Ryan Girdler, he joined Andrew Johns at his place.
He got time to fix the shingles. He got time to fix the floor. He got time to all the hinges. Not a man, no window pane. Ain't gonna need this house.
G'day folks, I'm Ryan Girdler and welcome to Their House. Today I'm dropping in on a guy that needs no introduction. He's rated as one of the best rugby league players in the world, and this is why.
Finding Gidley. Inside for Johns. Johns is over. Andrew Johns is over.
That's right, it's Knights captain Joey Johns. I think he's out the back. Let's go find him. Here he is. G'day Joey, how are you, mate?
Hey, Gerds.
Mate, what are you up to?
Just pruning the grass, mate.
Well, it's, mate, I knew you loved the punt, but don't you think this is a little bit ridiculous?
I was spending so much time at the track that I decided to build my own.
Hey. That was a little close, wasn't it?
No, don't worry about
that. So you get out here often, or?
Yeah, every morning I come out and watch the horses work, but Wednesday's a big day. It's all right, mate. It's a bit frisky, that one, but I come out every Wednesday. I have to hand mow it all myself, so it's a big job, but...
Has that got something to do with those thighs and that ass?
No, nothing to do with that, mate.
It's a push mower, you said, didn't you?
Yeah, it's a push mower.
Right.
But...
How many horses do you have in work up here at the moment, Andrew?
Well, I've got two, one for me and one for Matthew. We get up here all the time.
Matty comes up, does he?
Yeah, he comes up all the time. We race and... Get that bloody horse off the grass. I just made this. Jockeys, they just don't listen. This morning I've been out here all morning laying this... Look at the potholes. Jockeys. Get them off.
So it looks like a lot of work, mate. What do you actually got to do? Like, what's the detail?
Well, I suppose it's like cutting hair. You got to be... I know every bit of grass. You just got to cut it. See these potholes? See these? You just get rid of it. You just push it back in. Get in there. And just so it's nice and level.
How do you go with them little hands?
Oh, they're good little... Get this horse out!
Racing, mate, but can you ride?
Yeah, I'm quite good, actually. But
really?
I'm not allowed to ride during footy season.
You're the right height.
But yeah, I used to be a jockey when I was younger, but yeah, I used to be, I'll ride, but not during the season, the coach doesn't let it.
So you can't ride?
Well, this one is that temperamental, any noises, it'll go Burko.
Mate, come on, we've come all the way up here, why don't you just give us one lap around the little park here?
Well, if there's no noises, you got your phone off and everything?
Yeah, everything's sweet, mate.
Right up.
Hello.
Jesus, good! Hang on, Joe.
Oh, what happened to the phone set it off?
Temperamental, mate.
Oh, God. Well, do you think you're up to show me the rest of the place? Come on,
let's
mate.
go.
Let's go. Come on. Oh. Joey, I'm sorry about scaring that horse, mate.
It's all right.
I really am. It looked terrible. What a horrific incident. Well, Joey, obviously, this is where you keep your prized possessions.
Sure is, mate.
What's,
bit dusty.
Bit dusty? You don't get any of that often?
No, not too much.
What's that, Farlap's? Farlap's first check.
Yeah, you run out the back one day, so that's one to keep.
The big red, eh?
Yeah, me, Matty. Have a look at us. Butter would melt in the mouth there. Hey! Say, hey, boys.
Hi, boys.
I'm pretty good at kids. What's this? Yeah, what's this? Come here, buddy.
What's in? No.
You like that?
Boys, stop it.
She hasn't taken to the.
Come on,
yet.
let me hear it. Here we go.
Jump.
Oh yeah, I'll let you.
Get away with kids.
Don't I? What's in here, Joey?
That's my secret room.
Oh, is it? What's in there?
Secrets.
We look. Come on.
Righto. Only for their house goods.
All right. Let's go in.
Ready?
Yep.
You'll love it. This is it, Gerds.
Oh, Joey, this is unbelievable. Not only have you got the racetrack in the backyard, you got the full-on bar in your house.
Yeah, this is where I come to get away from it. Come here to have a beer, a couple of drinks.
How often are you getting here?
Every day.
Yeah. Understandable.
Why wouldn't I?
Exactly right.
Look at this. Don't know where they come from. I don't care. It's my place.
Well, Joey, I did notice something interesting in this room. Over there, mate. I'm not really sure what they are.
They're bed skirts. Sometimes I find it just a bit too far to walk to the bedroom from in here, so as I said, I'm just camping in. There's your bed girds.
Not too bad, mate. Someone short-sheeted me, though.
You don't mind sleeping in the dark?
No, I'm scared of the dark. You scared of the dark?
I'm not scared of the dark, but I believe in the boogeyman. Right, mate? What's wrong?
Oh, mate, there's someone in the room, that's all.
Yeah, I've got Footy's been good. I've got a butler.
Footy has been good.
Whatever you want, just yell out. Hey, Howie, can I get some towels and some soaps, please, mate? And you give some to Ryan. This is Ryan.
Who's him?
Yeah. Play footy against him.
G'day, mate. How are you? Thanks a lot for that.
Thanks, Howie. Hey, can you get our beers too, mate, thanks? Please?
What else do you want?
I like those racehorses, a bit frisky.
He's an aggressive butler.
Okay. I've got the full one. Thanks, Howie.
Get in bed. Mate.
Thanks, mate. Beautiful.
I suppose you want yours too.
Thanks, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Howie. I think actually this was the making of my special room. And we can see just, look at the euphoria in Samuel's face.
Oh, yeah, you can
look
tell
at the
him.
bar going up. He's going, yes.
Yes.
He's going, endless supply of beer, endless supply of red lemonade. There's two happy
campers there.
Yeah, it was a special moment.
Yeah. Well, Joe, it looks like you love your gardening.
Well, the racetrack takes up most of the time, and I'll probably let it go to what I should, and
Bit of weeding.
yeah. This is the pool. Water out, good. Yeah.
I don't mind that plant thing over there. Not the
Which
one, the
one,
pot,
mate?
the other
The
one
pot?
next to it.
I think that's a weed.
Oh, is that a weed?
Yeah. You remember when your dad used to get out? He used to do this. He used
Used to love watching you do
just
that.
Just to love it.
There's an art to it. You haven't got it. Oh, yeah, you have. Well, Joey, thanks for having their house and your house, mate. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the Knights for the rest of the year, mate, and I'll see you out in the paddock.
My pleasure, Gerds.
No, it's my pleasure, Joey.
See you later.
Bye.
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 Well done, Joey. Thanks to Ryan. Nice place he's got.
Mate, I've been in that spare room, that secrets room.
Beautiful.
How good's that butler?
Howie.
He's a nightmare. You know he's
It's
cheap,
Yowie.
yeah?
Yeah, no, we know from the from Joey's big room. He's good.
At Newcastle, South Sydney got a verbal blast from coach Paul Langmack after their loss to the Knights. In the first minute of play, Daniel Abraham crossed for a try and a 6-0 lead. In the second half, the Rabbitohs' Ashley Harrison went on report for a high shot on Ben Kennedy. Newcastle led 26-24 and finished Souths off by running in 3 more tries in 13 minutes.
With a chip on the inside, it is a foot race, and Anthony Quinn has won the race.
And that was a hat-trick of tries for Quinn. Newcastle winning 42-28 without suspended captain Andrew Johns. Leading into the game, the Knights had only won 1 of their last 11 games without Johns playing. Langmack was furious with his team's effort.
It just wasn't good enough. It's just not. It's not what you expect for NRL. We expect to win every week, and with the defence we dished up today, I'm not very happy about it. Our worst defensive performance of the year, worse than the Warriors, because the Warriors had their full complement. Hate to see what would have happened if Andrew Johns played. Look, if you can't tackle, you should just get in the way and knock yourself out to stop them. Today, it just wasn't good enough.
Of course, the big game tomorrow night, it's, of course, a possibles, probables trial virtually for the state of origin. They'll pick that pretty soon. City versus country up there in Gosford. Good to see a game up in Gosford and a big game happening there tomorrow night. Sent our intrepid reporter, Reagan, out to have a chat to all the boys.
G'day, Reagan here, and guess what's on this week? The bloody best game of the year, that's what. It's the game that I love, the game that made the man, Reagan. It's the game that matches up those tough men from the country versus those Nancy boys from the city. So come on, boys, do me a favour, get it on. I love these country blokes. City, you're doing dead stuff.
I haven't got much time for these city blokes. The one bloke who I quite admire is a fella who's up against old fat ass on Friday night, Andrew John. Brent Sherwin, how you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself?
You got a message for him?
No, I don't actually.
I'll send a message. You're a cat, Johns. Go on, Sherwin, add to it.
No, mate.
Yeah, he's a cat, and you know it. Hey, Sherwin, on Friday night, any chance of slamming his head on the ground?
No, Reg, no, sorry, mate. No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay, told you he's a cat. You going to get him on Friday night? Going to give him some curry?
Oh, mate, I'll go out there and do my best and see what happens.
You do more than your best, you're going to kill him. You hear that, Johns? He's going to kill you. Get those elbows ready. Going to stick a few into Kearney?
I hope so.
Because he was talking before, he reckons he's got your measure, no problem whatsoever. He reckons you're a dead set cat.
Yeah, he's a pretty good player.
But you're telling me that Willie Mason, he's target number one for Friday night?
Nah, mate, I'm just going to go out there and concentrate on my own game.
Oh, come on, don't spot the cliches out, Les. Come on, be honest. You're going to stick that Afro fair up his arse.
No, mate, no, Willie's not a bad bloke.
Now, listen, Reggie Boyd played on the bench a couple of times, had a couple of broken legs, but still gave his all. I hope you're going to do the same.
Mate, I'll give 100% the country, mate.
120%,
Probably 180.
Good stuff.
I can go.
Good on you, Willie. Listen, you're not related to Joan Armour Trading by any chance, are you?
Second cousin.
Second cousin. Drop the pilot. Here with country rookie Matt Cooper. Matt will give you a little bit of advice. Get out there and kill him.
Yeah, thanks, mate, thanks.
Jesus Christ, hang on.
Yum.
Mate, people out there to know, I coached young Bouquet when he was a pup, taught him everything he knows, which is stuff all. Good we can have a joke, Bouquet. Good to catch up, old son. Who are you up against on Friday night?
I don't know, probably.
You don't know, do you? Because you're not preparing.
Yeah, we're all right.
You're all too busy getting down in the cafe having a latte. Mate, what are you doing here? What are you doing on the coaching staff? Are you here for comical value? Talk about last times. Last time you were involved with country, you got smashed.
Mate, what about last time?
Last time what?
I'm sick of you, mate.
Let's have a go. Now, you're playing against Braith and Astor on Friday night. Isn't it funny? All the country blokes are called simple names like Daniel and John and Brian, and the city boys have names like Braith. Are you going to smash him? Yeah, I like it. Tell us more.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, mate.
Reg made his debut for country one day. I'll give you a bit of advice. Listen closely. Knock the bludgers' heads off.
I will do, mate. I will do.
Promise?
I promise.
What are you going to do to him?
Rip his head off.
Yes, I like it. I like it. You might be my new hero.
Rip and tear, I will.
So how's camp been?
Actually, you've been popping up everywhere. Free lunches. The last lunch we were at, you were there. Getting the free piss into you and making an absolute gig of yourself, as you.
We'll have a look at you. There's plenty of free lunches down there, let me tell you. Hey? Around that. Look at that. Jesus Christ, wide load.
I've got to say, gee, your breath stinks, man. Oh, so bad.
Fancy you talking, you big oaf.
Geez, your breath's bad.
What are you talking about, mate? Fancy you talking. As people tell me you don't have a beer. What's the matter with you?
Oh, if they're smelling your breath, no wonder why.
Have a drink, Haz.
There's myself, Dean Pay.
Yeah.
And we're, we smell like alcohol.
What do you mean? I've been having a yarn to Smithy. He reckons it's starting to become a bit of a loose ship, right, huh? So I'm going to lay down some rules about camp. No drinking before 8 a.m. No smoking on the field or game day. Anyone found sober at training will be fined. And no shirtless in camp unless you tell me about it. Let me join in, okay? But listen, boys, you're looking after the country now, so rip into the bludgers, okay? After 3, give me a country yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Country, yeah.
Yeah, well done, Reggie, of course, and a big game. The boys look, they seem to enjoy Reg's turning up there.
Yeah, my breath's not that bad, is it?
Sorry, what'd you say?
That's not that bad. Didn't mind it when I kissed you last week.
Now, Chief, how's the week been up there?
It's been a good week. Of course, it's been raining so much. We've been training in flippers and a bloody snorkel, but it's been tough. I only had 2 runs, but
the calibre of the play, when you've got Trent and Joey in your team, the organisation's going to be fine. But I think the wet weather will, it'll be difficult, and a kicking game will come into play. But we've got some big men in our team. I think.
But every team you've been involved with, the last you've slaughtered every team you've been with.
Mate, I haven't had a win when I've been involved or given a speech to a team yet, but this is going to be the year, I can tell you. Don't you talk. You win 3 little State of Origins and you're carrying like a good sort. Here we go.
Trent, AFL, mate. Tell us about yourself.
Oh, yeah, I
big
went to
follower
the
of the
Swamp games the other night, Fat, and I tell you what, any game that gives you points for grabbing a behind, I'm in there. Yeah, it's a great game. Great game, buddy.
Swans in the Brisbane Lions, magnificent performance by the Swans.
Yeah, I loved it straight from the ball up. Shove it up the air. Look at this guy, hey? Dermot Burton. See this guy here? Oh, yeah, met him in 1980, buddy. I had dermatitis on the brain. Yeah, look at these look at that magnificent athlete.
It wasn't a great effort by the Swans.
Yeah, I think they won. I had no idea. I was too busy looking at their asses.
Actually,
that's not a bad kick. Yeah,
that's their third win in a row. Well, they had a win over Melbourne a couple of weeks back, then Collingwood, and they got the Lions, the reigning premiers.
Yeah, got the Lions too.
You've got no idea, have you?
Yeah,
absolutely no idea.
Yeah, well, geez, I wear tight shorts, guys.
Who's your favourite AFL player?
Oh, this guy, of course, Dermot Burton, Helmet or Dermot or something. As I said before, I met this guy in the 1980s. He was playing for the Hawks, and man, everybody wanted a piece of Dermy, and I was lucky to get there myself. Actually, Jason, been jaded by Jason a little bit, so. I want to know if you guys can introduce me to Dermot Burton. Would that be okay?
We'll do that for you, mate. I'm sure he'll be very happy to meet you.
Okay, fantastic.
What is it about him that you like?
Well, I mean, basically, he's like a poor man's Jason Donovan, but, he's pretty cute. Yeah, as you guys are.
Crazy John makes his way onto the stadium.
Look, I tell you what, this guy's really impressive.
He takes the kick off. Steps past Reagan and he's away!
He's got the experience and he's unstoppable.
The two big men collide.
He's not afraid to stick his boot into the competition.
Reagan bites and does. Oh!
He's a legend and he's Australia's best mobile phone retailer.
Won't catch him from there.
Yeah, you could say I'm a Crazy John's fan.
Crazy John will score.
Best deals and the best phones.
Crazy Johns, we love you, mate.
Crazy Johns, call 13 22 99. Anthony Quinn. Shane Hayne wants to take a look at it. I don't think so, first sight of it.
No, well, half the side seem to be confident. The other half, including Andrew Johns, who admittedly was a long way away from where the touchdown occurred, they're onside. There's no drama there. You can see from our shot, Johns kicking on the 10-metre line, all the chasers behind that. Hegarty loses the ball. No, it's no try. Ball bounces around there.
Come off him.
He's going to lose it in a minute. There's the knock-on.
Almost played basketball with it.
Yeah, and he was probably just forgetting that there is a video referee today. That was one of those older-fashioned tools you have to the man in the middle with the referee with the whistle. Say, make a decision. I think I've got there. But today's technology has caught up with those sort of players, those dishonest players, and it's no try.
Can't handle it.
4 games of rugby league today to wrap up round 10 with the home ground advantage proving its worth this afternoon. Newcastle travelled to Aussie Stadium and got off to the right start thanks to Kurt Gidley, who was a late replacement for Tamana Tahu on the wing.
Short side, Kurt Gidley will score. Kurt Gidley scores.
But inspired by Adrian Morley up front, the Roosters took over. Ryan Cross scoring a double in the home side's 36-14 win over the Knights.
Coming here and winning this game of football, it was such an important game for us to win today, to wrap up on a very, very tough 11 weeks that we've had to go through.
36-14, the final score in that one.
OK, Newcastle Knights international winger Adam MacDougall could be back within a fortnight after receiving medical clearance to resume his career. The Knights had initiated discussions regarding the status of his contract, but now say those talks are on hold. Steve Hart has more.
Tim, the Newcastle club have been very concerned about Adam MacDougall's ongoing knee problems. The club have also been a bit worried about some media speculation that MacDougall may have been prolonging his comeback unnecessarily. They began discussions about his future. Well, tonight MacDougall produced a medical report that says he can play and will be back on the field within 2 weeks. So as far as the club is concerned, that is the end of the matter.
Gus, you have been in the news once again. Headline Harry strikes again. You're everywhere in the news. You're copping plenty from left, right and centre. What's going on? The feud with Andrew Johns.
Yeah, look.
Do you want to
it's coming out in movie.
It's probably Joey.
It's
Joey, turn it up.
I'll be there in a minute, mate. It's coming out on movie and DVD very shortly, this continuing saga.
What is the drama? Tell us the drama.
Well, look, we had a meeting on Wednesday with the New South Wales State of Origin team, and what happened in that meeting at the time, we said would stay in-house and remain between the players and myself. I then had a meeting with Joey Johns at his instigation during the luncheon, where we went outside to have a talk about some things and some things that were troubling him. And the contents of that conversation are privileged, I think, between me and Joey until such times as Joey wants to divulge what he had to say. I will say that the reporting of what went on Wednesday and reporting of what's happened today has been nothing short of disgraceful and is a gross exaggeration on everything that has occurred. But anything involving me with Origin, as I said some 6 weeks ago, is always going to get plenty of airplay and is going to get derogatory airplay in certain sections of the media. And I'm in a position now where I either bite my lip, as I have continued to do for some time, or you try to react to these things. And my decision is, to, at this stage, bite my lip. But it's going to be a fairly ordinary Origin campaign for us. If everywhere we go and everything we do, we've got to contend with the fact that there's going to be cameras on us, isolated cameras on us, and people wanting to take pot shots at what we do. At the moment, we're being criticised from everyone in New South Wales. We've been criticised by everyone in Queensland, which is only typical. They'll go to some people to get a point on this. And all we're trying to do is get 17 fit, committed players to take on Queensland come Origin time.
Well, I've got to say, what strikes me as the most worrying aspect of all of this is a report in one of the papers this morning, I think the back page of the Sun Herald, saying that Joey Johns doesn't want to play Origin. He's told his teammates that he doesn't want to play.
Well, as I say, look, anything in the conversation between Andrew Johns and I, and Andrew came to me at the Origin luncheon and asked if he could talk to me, which we did. We had a fairly lengthy conversation, and I've known Joey for a long time, and any contents of that conversation is really up to Joey to divulge and not me. But as I say, what we're looking for is 17 fit, committed players to take on Queensland in State of Origin #1 and hopefully throughout the series, and we want it to be a great series. But as I said, and I said some weeks ago, my concerns were that whilst ever I was involved with Origin, the reporting of Origin in some sections of the media would not be fair and would not be balanced. Now, I've been putting up with this sort of intimidation for some time. I'll continue to put up with it. But it's very, very hard to do when you think the game is being harmed by it, and the players could be harmed by it. In the large point of it, the Origin campaign that we've had so far has been immaculate. It's been very, very good for the players. I've had a lot of positive feedback from what's happened on the weekend. Yeah. I wasn't aware at the time I had the second meeting with Andrew Johns that he had made comments to the media, which were later splashed on the news as that night. I put it down to Joey letting off a bit of steam. I've had senior players that have reacted to things in the past. It doesn't worry me in any way, shape or form. If you know Joey, that's sometimes how he reacts to things, and the next day he gets over it and away he goes. I haven't heard from him this weekend. I probably don't expect to hear from him until such times as we go into camp Monday week. But when he gets there, he knows what's expected of him, what he's going to have to do.
Speaking of Andrew Johns, even as of recently as last Friday, here's what Andrew Johns had to say about playing for New South Wales this year.
Well, I think State of Origin's the pinnacle of our game. Playing for Australia is great, but definitely the Origin, I suppose, is the pinnacle. And to get the chance to play is unbelievable, but the chance to captain is just, it's just out of this world. So if you do captain a winning series, it's something no one can ever take from you, and it's something that I'd absolutely love to do before I finish.
Well, there you go. So you got no problem having Andrew Johns in your football side as skipper and halfback?
Never at any time, and never at any time on Wednesday was his position questioned. Never at any time. Look, I can't tell you what was said in our meeting, but I'll tell you what wasn't said. Never at any time was his form questioned. Never at any time was his position questioned. Never at any time was his captaincy questioned. At any time during the meeting by anyone. And what was in the meeting was supposed to stay in the meeting. And when we left the meeting, we all said, right, we wipe the slate clean and we start again from now. And that was the way we left the meeting on Wednesday. Now, if the events from then till now have been reported the way they are, make us a joke, well then we'll see how much of a joke we are on June 11.
Yeah, absolutely. As a Queenslander, it's just fantastic.
It's not good.
It's not good. Watching New South Wales
it's complete role reversal. Normally they're saying this about Queensland.
Never.
They're saying New South Wales can't win.
Yeah, welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Before we get to the Saturday wrap, Andrew Johns' manager, John Fordham, happened to be watching the show as he does every Sunday, and he's rung in to make a comment. G'day, John.
G'day, Fatty. How are you?
Going well, champ. Now, Andrew's issuing a statement this afternoon. Can you fill us in on that?
Well, I have the statement in front of me, which I'm happy to read to you.
Yes, please do, champ.
Obviously, there's been a lot of coverage in the last few days over issues relating to the Origin series. Andrew has today reaffirmed his availability for the 2003 Origin series. I'll paraphrase some of this stuff for you. He says, with the first Origin game less than 3 weeks away, it's important for everyone to get their heads around winning the series rather than be occupied with speculation and a lot of meaningless comment and analysis in the media. He says playing for the Blues and winning an Origin series offers a player enormous satisfaction, achievement and pride, and that this year will be no different to others. He goes on, he says that he's always enjoyed a very successful association with Coach Phil Gould, going back to his early days with the Knights, and that we may have differing opinions on certain football matters as part and parcel of a relationship between player and coach, team and coach, and captain and coach. And he says whatever people want to draw from the conversation he had at an Origin squad gathering last week ignores the fact that Gus and himself have passionate views on many aspects of the game, but they're always in the best interest of the team. He says that the unfortunate aspect of what happened last week is that there were some matters aired publicly and in a team situation that on reflection should have been addressed on a personal level. And he says this factor and this factor alone has led to this weekend's media hysteria, and the final paragraph here is that should he be reappointed captain of the Blues, he will work very closely with Gus in developing what will hopefully be a winning formula.
Good on you, John. Thanks very much for that. John Fordham there, Andrew Johns' manager, and it would seem that that statement will allay any fears that any New South Wales supporters have, and it might allay any concerns you've got as well, Phil.
I never had any concerns about him playing. I mean, I was confident he was always going to play, but in that statement, it still doesn't address the items of the conversation we had with Andrew Johns on Wednesday. But that's the statement, and it's good for rugby league that Andrew Johns is going to play in the series.
It's positive now we can get back on track and talking about rugby league matters and New South Wales mounting.
Good for New South Wales.
Yeah, a charge at the State of Origin.
Let's pick a good squad, mate.
Yep. Thanks, John Fordham, and thanks, Andrew Johns, for letting that happen today, live on the Sunday Footy Show. Thanks very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Phelan. Welcome to Sports Tonight. Another busy day of sport ahead with AFL, NRL, V8s and cricket. So let's check out the Sunday rundown. They're singing the blues in the New South Wales State of Origin camp as Joey gets toey about playing. So will the coach and captain kiss and make up? Well, will he or won't he? Speculation today that New South Wales Blues captain Andrew Johns could pull out of the State of Origin series after a disagreement with coach Phil Gould. Rob Canning has the latest.
Well, Ryan, the simple answer is yes, Andrew Johns will play in this year's State of Origin series. He thrives on this style of football, and to imagine him not being there would be a major shock. Now, reports that he and coach Phil Gould have had a detrimental falling out are off the mark. Our cameras attended the Knights' recovery session today following last night's loss to the Sharks. Johns had a quick swim. He wasn't speaking on the matter today, but he did release a statement. Now, we'll get to that shortly, but what is all the fuss over? Reports this morning claiming Johns will not be playing in this series because he's got the blues and has had a large dispute with coach Phil Gould at a team luncheon last Wednesday. Now, Johns released a statement today reading in part that we, being he and Phil Gould, have had differing opinions on certain football matters is part and parcel of a relationship between player and coach, team and coach, and captain and coach. He also stated the unfortunate aspect of what happened last week is that there were some matters aired publicly in a team situation that on reflection should have been addressed on a personal level. This factor alone has led to this week's media hysteria. So it seems there are differing football opinions between coach Phil Gould and Andrew Johns. Here's what Gould had to say today.
Never at any time was his form questioned, never at any time was his position questioned, never at any time was his captaincy questioned. at any time during the meeting by anyone. And what was in the meeting was supposed to stay in the meeting. And when we left the meeting, we all said, right, we wipe the slate clean and we start again.
Well, let's hope that this is the last we hear of it, because Queenslanders like yourself, Ryan, would be loving this.
And we'll take all the help we can get. Last night, the Sharks produced a courageous victory against Newcastle with just 12 players on the field. It's Cronulla's third straight win of the season.
It was ugly, and this high tackle saw Cronulla's Paul Gallen being the first player sent from the field this season. With 15 minutes to go, the Sharks trailed Newcastle by 4, with just 12 players on the park. Captain Brett Kimmorley pulled off the improbable.
Can you believe it, Brett Kimmorley?
I think the best part about us was we all fired up after it. You know, it was probably still whatever it was to go, 10 minutes to go or 15 to go, and it's just a matter of digging deep and showing how much courage we had.
OK, Adam MacDougall on the outer in Newcastle.
Yes, a strange one, this one. The Newcastle Knights are negotiating as we speak with MacDougall, whose contract is up at the end of 2004. He's just been cleared to return to football last week following a knee injury that's kept him out of football for some time. Now, there's a train of thought, Tim, that the Newcastle Knights are looking to release him, but the question is, will they be releasing him before the June 30 deadline or afterwards? Now, if you look at a couple of interesting statistics, he hasn't played football so far this year at all. He played only 9 minutes last year, and his average of football over his career is between 9 and 10 games a year. I do stress there is a rumour that South Sydney may be interested in buying him.
All right.
After spending much of the past week in the spotlight because of a feud with Phil Gould, this week is also a big one for Andrew Johns, who'll play his 200th NRL match in what's basically a State of Origin preview. The Newcastle skipper will face a worked-up crowd of fervent Queenslanders at the reopening of the old Lang Park in Brisbane.
Most weeks, Andrew Johns is the game's centre of attention. His much publicised Origin feud with coach Phil Gould has only added to that this week. But Knights coach Michael Hagan is adamant the off-field drama has not been a distraction leading up to the Broncos this week.
The Origin stuff, I think, has been done to the nth degree, and I think hopefully that can be resolved so that the players can just get on with the job of playing football for their clubs.
What came instead was a warning as Johns prepares to play his 200th first-grade game.
He's been an integral part of our football team for over a decade, so I'm sure he'll save something special for that on Sunday.
Returning to the $280 million reconfigured Suncorp Stadium will only add to the atmosphere.
You know, there's going to be 45,000, 50,000 people there, so it'll be a pretty big occasion for both clubs, and the irony of the fact that we both played our last game against each other at Lang Park back in '92, so a fair bit of interest in the game, and State of Origin just around the corner.
Hagan was unsure whether Johns would be a target in the Origin rehearsal.
I'm not sure, mate. You have to ask Wayne that.
But the coach acknowledged getting back into the top 8 will require the Knights to compete for 80 minutes.
I guess that's one of the areas we need to improve on this weekend and make sure that we do compete for 80 minutes against a pretty quality Brisbane team that's playing well at the moment.
All right, any late developments anywhere?
Yes, certainly. News from Newcastle tonight. Adam MacDougall has had his contract downgraded. He is free to talk to other clubs as of next year, which is interesting. Also, his first game for the Knights will be in round 14 against the Dragons.
The most crucial contest of the round is the Newcastle-Brisbane game, where almost half of the expected Blues team lines up against three-quarters of the likely Queensland side. Origin 1 is just 10 days later, and the Knights will need a fully focused Andrew Johns if they're to stop the Northerners.
I feel sorry for a bit for Joey at the moment. He's got a lot of pressure on him, and he probably doesn't deserve it. He's an awesome player, and I think he handles pressures very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a man of the match performance this week.
Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
Tony, another player who is rumoured to be on the move, Adam MacDougall, though, back with the Knights.
Yes, had his first training session back today with that left knee fairly well strapped, Bill. As we said last night, he's a free agent for next year already. Some of the clubs are circling, with South Sydney, the Tigers, Manly and the Sharks all being mentioned as interested. But obviously his medical situation, Bill, will influence any club that's keen to sign him.
The Bulldogs continue to shore up their playing strength, today signing fullback Luke Patton to a new 3-year contract. In other league news, there's an added State of Origin element to Sunday's game between the Broncos and Knights. Both teams will road test the revamped Coliseum, formerly known as Lang Park.
It's cost $280 million to complete a new-look Suncorp Stadium. The Broncos keen to quickly make it feel like the old Lang Park.
Yeah, I got a lot of excitement about it. Very
I suppose looking forward to it, but at the same time a little bit nervous.
Sunday's clash will be watched by a sellout crowd of 48,000, the biggest at a regular league fixture since 1995, boasting plenty of state contenders. This Origin rehearsal is bound to be no ordinary club game.
It's probably a little bit of a mini state of origin for us. You know, we've got a few blokes contending for New South Wales, and you know, they've got 8 or 10 blokes that are going to be in the Queensland side.
Andrew Johns' fallout with Blues coach Phil Gould has not been forgotten in Queensland. The Broncos determined Johns won't be celebrating his 200th first-grade appearance.
Yeah, I think it's probably motivate Joey to play better. You know, he's a very competitive guy, and you know he's the captain of the side, so I'm sure that he'll be looking to have a big game this weekend in front of a big crowd.
After a long layoff with a knee injury, Adam MacDougall returned to training, but is likely to leave Newcastle next season, unlike Brisbane's Brad Myers, Dane Carlaw and Corey Parker, who've all re-signed with the Broncos. Andrew McKinlay, National 9 News.
Now, it would appear that there's been massive drama this week between Phil Gould and Andrew Johns. We're about to speak to those two legendary people in a moment, but Reagan's been out in the streets finding out what's going on.
I'm Reagan, and what about all the bluing at the Blues? If this is what old Captain Fat-Ass Johns and Coach Gus Gould are doing to each other, imagine what they're going to do to the Maroons. Look, I don't know what the big deal is. It's not the first time someone's had a run-in with their boss. Anyway, let's hit the streets and find out what people really think of their superiors. You look like a good, hard-working, blue-collar type guy. What's your boss like?
Well, if I described him as an arsehole, it would be too kind to the arseholes, I think.
Yeah, fair enough.
For Newcastle Knights.
Do you now? Yeah, I'm a ball boy. Oh, you're a ball boy. Yeah. What's the boss? Oh, you know who your boss is, don't you? It's Bucket-Ass Johns. Has he ever said, come on, mate, this ball's no good, I want a new ball, you're an idiot, kid? Has he ever said that to you?
Yeah, and I threw it at his face.
Did you? Did it hit him in the face?
Yeah, on the nose.
What did he say?
He goes, oh, my nose.
So what's your occupation? How do you work for yourself? What do you do?
Massage.
Oh, masseuse. Oh, yeah. Hey? Hey, the old rub and tugs. Job as a beauty therapist entailed. Did you ever have to wax blokes' backs or anything like that?
Yeah, done that before.
We might send that fatty Vorton in. What do you reckon? Hey, you would have charged top price for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you ever did to a boss? To get him a bit of revenge?
I tried to see if I could...
Make love to his wife?
Well, no, absolutely not.
So where are you blokes from?
From Italy.
Italy?
Yeah.
Oh, where's that? Was Rocky Balboa Italian?
No, Rocky. Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh, no, it's okay, mate. You just, no, it's fine. Very tasty. Very nice. Yeah, very good. Very good. Your turn now. Oh, you've done that before, haven't you? What's your boss like? Is your boss a bit of a dickhead?
Yeah, dickhead.
Is he?
Yeah, for sure.
Is he a dickhead? For sure. Oh, I like you Italians. He's all right. You get a bad rap occasionally, but he's not bad. That Mussolini was a bit of a grub, though, wasn't he? That's a bit of a bruiser. How'd you end up with that? Was that your boss who done that?
Bit of a discrepancy in the bottom of a rock, actually.
Oh, really? So you're rugby players?
Yeah, we're footy checks.
What do you think of your superiors?
When you question that, they want to go red tape and pass the buck, eh?
Well said. I've got no time for my boss. He's a dickhead. Having said that, I've been fronted up for work for a while, so I'd like to send old Macca a message. I quit, so you can go and get stuffed.